Skelly Premium Unleaded. At Skelly, we want you to get the most out of your car. True Value Hardware Stores, more than just a name. It's our way of doing business. McDonald's, you deserve a break today. Stop by one of the McDonald's restaurants in the Twin Cities area and enjoy a delicious Big Mac sandwich. And by the Twin Cities Oldsmobile dealers, we've got your new car now. And now to the Chicago Stadium in Chicago, Illinois, and your announcers, Bob Kurtz and Tom Reed.
Greetings, everyone, and welcome to the Chicago Stadium in game number 3 of the Norris Division playoff battle between the North Stars and the Chicago Blackhawks. I'm Bob Kurtz, along with Tom Reed. The fans are here in force in Chicago. This game is a sellout, and they sense some blood.
They really do, Bob. The fans are lined up here early afternoon to buy the standing room tickets. We got in here. They're all around the place, and you can tell by the roaring of this crowd, they are strictly for the Chicago Blackhawks. The North Stars have really got their work cut out here tonight.
Nonetheless, it is the best of 5. You have to win 3, and they haven't won 3 yet. They're talking about Chicago.
It's very tough to win, especially in this building for the North Stars. But the feeling amongst the members of the team right now is they're very confident they can win this first game and go on from here. But it's a real uphill battle.
Now the North Stars losing the first 2 games to Chicago. Now the pressure, though, is off them a bit, I would suppose. They are the underdogs.
They are, yeah, and they enjoy being the underdogs. The pressure's off a little bit because I really feel that a lot of people think they're going to go out in 3 straight now. But I think what's going to happen is that you'll see the guys play a more relaxed style. The North Stars have not played their best in the 2 games in Minnesota. The Blackhawks, I feel, have played the very best they possibly can. So Minnesota can improve, but can Chicago?
Well, we shall find out. Upcoming game number 3 of this preliminary round battle, the Chicago Blackhawks against the Minnesota North Stars. Tonight's battle comes your way from the Chicago Stadium. Bob Kurtz and Tom Reed back here at the stadium in Chicago. The old building on the corner of Madison Avenue is a-rockin' here in the Windy City as the Chicago Blackhawks lead the Minnesota North Stars 2-0. Chicago winning Wednesday night at the Met in overtime 3-2. Greg Fox scoring in 3:34 of the overtime session. And, of course, the Hawks winning as well on Thursday night 5-3. Tommy Lysiak sealing the verdict for Chicago with an empty net goal. So the North Stars face the prospect of elimination unless they can win this evening in Chicago and force a possible 4th game at the stadium tomorrow night. A 5th game, should that be necessary, would be back at the Met on Tuesday. So Glenn Sonmore, Murray Oliver, J.P. Parisi, and the Minnesota North Stars have their work cut out for them as they go against that man, Murray Bannerman, who has been hot the first 2 games for Chicago. It should be a dandy this evening. Now, ladies and gentlemen, our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched, where so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, take proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave?
Tom Reed along with Bob Kurtz, and you hear that noise, and this building is rocking. The official for tonight's game, the referee, will be Dennis Morrell. As you look at him preparing, and it's a tough battle for them as well. They have to get themselves psyched up just as the players do. The lines will be Ryan Bozak and Randy Mitten. For the Chicago Blackhawks, playing in his 3rd consecutive game, in goal will be number 30, Murray Bannerman. In the 2 games he's played, he's given up 5 goals. He has faced 83 shots. And for the North Stars, we'll have Gilles Melas playing in his 2nd game. His average is 3. He's given up that one overtime goal, and the North Stars must win here this evening.
Okay, here we go. Game 3 in the North Star zone. Coming out now is Anders Hawkinson. Hawk goes to center, dumping it into the Chicago zone. Bannerman stops it back behind the goal. Fox getting it up for Gardner now. Bumped there by Mark Johnson as the Hawks come out. This is Troy Murray, number 19, going across the North Star line. Flips it out in front, knocked down, but standing on it out there was Rick Patterson. As the Stars come back the other way. Too far for Brad Maxwell. Into the Chicago zone it goes. And Greg Fox goes back for the Hawks. Off for Bob Murray. Bob Murray carries the center ice for Chicago, clearing it into the Minnesota zone. Meloche will stop it behind the goal for Gordy Roberts. Now it's Roberts for the North Stars, bothered by Lysiak, off for Payne. And now Al McAdam down the right wing. Too far for Timmy Young, who is centering Payne and McAdam as we've had some line changes. Tonight for Minnesota offside anyway. We've played 53 seconds of the first period.
KMSB Television has purchased the broadcast rights of the Minnesota North Stars hockey game solely for the entertainment of our audience. No broadcast, rebroadcast, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and account of this copyrighted telecast is permitted without written authority of the Minnesota North Stars or KMSB Television.
Young at center, McAdam on the right, Payne on the left. Young against Lysiak on the draw, controlled by Minnesota as McAdam now drops it back for Kurt Giles. Giles at the center red line, dumping it into the Chicago zone. Stopped behind the goal by Bannerman. Hutchinson has returned to the Chicago lineup, taken away there by McAdam. He was straightened up by Wilson. Lysiak takes the puck out now for Chicago, and up for Darryl Sutter. Out to center ice now for Dennis Savard. It goes into the North Star zone, stopped by Meloche and Payne. Number 26 back for Minnesota. He gave the puck right to Darryl Sutter. Sutter back behind the goal, being bumped there by Gordy Roberts. His centering pass broken up by Payne, and out to center ice where Doug Wilson controls for Chicago. Off for Lysiak into the Minnesota zone, and Gordy Roberts now shadowed by Sutter back behind the net out the other side. Roberts playing it off for Al McAdam. McAdam at center for the North Stars. Into the Chicago zone it goes. Bannerman stops it back behind the Golden Wilson. Back for the Blackhawks. Up too far for Sutter. Out to center. Back into the North Star end with Freddie Barrett going back to play it for Minnesota. Stopped by Meloche. Barrett watched by Sharpley. Off now for Murray Brumwell. Kept in by Savard for Sharpley, but taken away by Bannerman. Off now for Barrett. Barrett for Bobby Smith. We passed the 2-minute mark here in the first period, and we're scoreless in a noisy Chicago stadium. At center ice now, McCarthy. Centered by Bobby Smith with Dino Ciccarelli on the right wing. Into the Chicago zone it goes, and Sharpley now tries to come out. Dino keeping it in. Off for Bobby Smith. He scores! Bobby Smith taking a pass from Dino Ciccarelli, and the Stars on the board at 2:25 here of the first period.
This is the first time in this series the North Stars or either team have been able to score in the first period, but Ciccarelli picked up the puck here. Look at the pass he makes to Smith, and with that long reach, he extends over that down goaltender Murray Bannerman, and the North Stars lead by a score of 1-0. That comes at 2:25 of the first period, and a very important goal it is, Bob.
It was also a passing goal rather than trying to blast the puck away the way they've been doing in the first two games.
That's something I want to get into as we go through the broadcast. The games in Minnesota, it seemed that they were trying to shoot too often from way out. They weren't bringing the puck in close to the net and making those passes, and that's where they've been so successful all season long.
Here comes Tom McCarthy with Bobby Smith. McCarthy just fails to score as it missed the pipe on the outside. Here come the Blackhawks to center. This is Dennis Savard and Sharpley across the line. Savard goes to the corner, watched by Barrett, as Ciccarelli lost at the Secord, and standing on it, Savard. Back for Beamster, big save. Rebound, Sharpley goes wide. Sharpley ridden out by Brumwell. Bobby Smith, Savard is shot. Off on the line. Secord, the rebound, and stopped by Malone. Tonight's broadcast comes your way from the stadium here in Chicago.
Tom McCarthy and also Dino Ciccarelli were credited with assists on that goal by Bobby Smith. Look at the action in front of the North Star net. Secord trying to get in there, but Freddie Barrett right on top of him.
And Savard was set up right in the slot area. Meloche made an outstanding save on him as Kristoff now centered by Broughton with Palmer on the left wing on this line. Carries into the Chicago zone. Sent up along the boards. Kristoff on the right wing failed to keep it in as it comes to center. And Brad Maxwell goes back in his own zone. Off now for Craig Hartsburg, watched by Rizkowski for Maxwell, up for Neil Broughton. Now Broughton at center, playing it into the Chicago zone along the boards. Left wing is Palmer. He was bumped and knocked down over on the left side, gets right back up, takes the shot, and Bannerman makes the save, and the puck goes into the crowd.
Well, we've got a few words going here already. Bully involved there. Neil Bratton. You'll probably notice that the lines have been changed by the North Stars. They're going with basically the same combinations that they had last year in the playoffs. So far, we've seen Mark Johnson. He has been centering Anders Hawkinson and Kent-Eric Anderson. But from last year, we've got Timmy Young with Steve Payne and Al McAdam. Neil Bratton will be between Palmer and Steve Kristoff. And we will have Bobby Smith between Tom McCarthy and Dino Cicerelli. They have to look to guys like Smith, McCarthy, Cicerelli, Payne for points in the playoffs. And they've had a lot of trouble getting any points. Very few goals scored by the North Stars. They averaged during the year over 4 goals, almost 4.5, but in the 2 previous games only have scored 2.5 goals per game.
Roy Murray at the Chicago line. One final from this afternoon. Herb Brooks and the New York Rangers beat Philadelphia 4-3. They now lead that best-of-7 series 2-1. Game 4 in Philadelphia tomorrow night. Anders Hawkinson on the left side, stopped by Bob Murray. Hurried off cross for Patterson, but taken away by Kent-Eric Anderson. Now Kenta for the North Stars, up for Anders Hawkinson. The Hawk from outside the line, and Bannerman makes the save for Chicago. Steers it away from Anderson. Off for Gardner. Gardner having difficulty coming out as Hawkinson pinned up against the boards. And Bob Murray now starts out for the Hawks, but all over him is Mark Johnson. Back behind the goal now for Greg Fox. Fox, number 2 for Chicago to Bob Murray. Murray carries to center into the North Star zone. Back is Kent-Eric Anderson battling Gardner. He got a shot on goal, and Meloche had to knock it away.
Well, that was Anderson who hit it with a backhand. He was trying to put it behind the net, and the puck was rolling, and Anderson almost had a shot in his own net.
Here's Hutchinson coming back into the North Star zone. Giles back to take it away. Giles out for Payne on the left wing. Painter cutting down, but it was a 2-line pass offside. Tonight's broadcast comes your way from the stadium in Chicago.
And has returned to the lineup for the Chicago Blackhawks as you look at the North Star bench along with Glenn Salmore. But Jack Carlson is still sidelined. He is here in the press box. Very disappointed he wasn't able to play tonight, but Coach Glenn Salmore felt that the hand just wasn't ready yet and needed every player on that ice to be healthy.
Now Wilson clearing it in for Chicago. Comes along the boards. Hutchinson keeping it at the right point. Now here's a chance for Grant Mulvey. A shot. That deflects over the top of the cage. Back behind the goal. Mulvey trying to dig it back out for Chicago. Ruskowski does to Bully. Off for Ruskowski. Saved by Meloche. Tilly has been brilliant in the early going. Ruskowski for Bully. Broken up by Payne for McAdam. Now McAdam across the line. Out to center ice. McAdam off for Tim Young across the line. Young moving right in. Down he goes. Into the corner, and up with the puck is Doug Wilson. Off now for Terry Ruskowski, the Chicago captain for Ted Bully. A drive. A save by Meloche. And back after it now Murray Brumwell. Brumwell replacing the injured Bill Nyrock. Puck along the boards, kept in by Hutchinson. Hutchinson for Bully, and it goes wide. Bully was tied up by Freddie Barrett. Now it's Al McAdam. McAdam for the North Stars for Captain Tim Young. Young carrying to center for Minnesota. Slamming it in, saved by Bannerman. Payne was tied up on the rebound. There's a drive by Cicerelli that hit traffic out in front, went wide. Now Maxwell chasing it down in the North Star end. Back behind the goal as we've reached the 6-minute mark of the first period. 1-0 Stars. Lysiak! He's not down! The last made the strike. Thought the puck was in. Lysiak! Oh, legal goal.
Was that ever close? Maxwell lost the puck and cutting around the net right here. And Lysiak picks up that loose puck right in front. Now watch Meloche. Watch with those. He gets that stick down flat on the ice and standing on his head, so he's got about 3 or 4 inches to work with. And Lysiak couldn't get the puck up high enough. Meloche comes up with the biggest save of the game so far. The North Stars lead 1-0. We're at the 13:59-minute mark remaining in this first period.
Now Meloche has come up with 2. Savard in the slot was labeled goal. That one was incredible, though. The one on Lysiak is Dino. Down the left side for Hartsburg from center ice, saved by Bannerman. McCarthy after the rebound. Puck comes to center, knocked back in offside by Hartsburg. 13 minutes, 40 seconds to go first period. 1-0 North Stars. Bobby Smith from Dino Cicerelli and Tom McCarthy at 2:25 of the first period.
And there's the man who scored the only goal of this game so far, Bobby Smith. That's the guy they look to for leadership on this club as far as goal scoring goes during the season, picking up 114 points on 43 goals, 71 assists.
You know what Fulford's thinking too, Tommy, before he comes in. The last thing he wants to do is give the North Stars life. They win this one, they could easily win the next 2.
You know, the old story, once you have a guy down, you don't let him get back up because he may beat you up again. And that's exactly what not only Fulford, but all those Chicago Blackhawks are thinking. that we've got to do it here in this first game in this building.
Back after it now goes Fox, back behind Bannerman. Fox coming out now for Chicago, up for Savard. Savard at center, had it knocked away by Broughton and knocked back in by Fox. Gordy Roberts for the North Stars, the Palmer on the left wing. Now Palmer battling Savard, tries to get it out. Sharpley will keep it in for Chicago, but bringing it right back out is Gordy Roberts from Minnesota, taken away by Savard. Savard, though, knocked out of the play by Giles as Roberts goes back behind the goal.
Good play by Giles, who went right into Savard. He's not the kind of guy you can give any room to. You've got to make sure.
Palmer now carrying to center. He's got Broughton and Kristoff with him. They're going to change lines now as Secord for Chicago, off for Dave Feimster. Feimster to center ice for Savard. He's bumped over there by Giles. In the corner now, it's Secord for Chicago for Sharpley, stopped by Barrett. Now Giles pops it in the air. Wilson, though, keeps it in with a shot over the top of the net. Sharpley and Palmer on the other side. Palmer gets it out to center ice. Feimster breaks that up for Chicago. And Ken-Eric Anderson covers up for Minnesota. Kenta from center ice, backhanding it into the Blackhawk zone. Bannerman stops it back behind the goal, and Feimster now clears it up on the right side for Patterson. Picked up by Troy Murray, out to center, knocked down by Anderson, picked up by Secord. Secord and Troy Murray come in, and Mark Johnson has the puck now for Minnesota. Off now for Murray Brumwell. Brumwell for Ken-Eric Anderson at center ice. Now it's Anderson for the North Stars, going across the Chicago line. It's offside. We've passed the 8-minute mark of the first period. Tonight's broadcast comes your way from Chicago.
We're back. It's 1-0 for the North Stars over the Blackhawks here in Chicago. 11:57 remaining in this first period, and it's been a good first period so far. Both teams working extremely hard.
Now, the first period every night has been a good period. Usually it's scoreless. Was the first two games, but not tonight as the Stars have a 1-0 lead. Out to center ice, Bob Murray clearing it in to the Minnesota zone up along the boards. Wilson will keep it in on the point. He hit Anderson with it. Johnson ahead now for Ken-Eric Anderson. Back for Anders Hawkinson. The Hawk cutting in, takes the shot. That was blocked by Murray. The Hawk digs at it a couple of times, but Murray slides right with him, and the faceoff given up to Bannerman in the Chicago zone.
A good play by the defenseman. Bob Murray went down in front of the shot. He forced him on the outside. You can see he stays right with it, and the Hawk is kind of moving off to the side. A lot has been said about the Chicago defense. They're not very mobile. They can't do things quite as well. If that's the case, then the North Stars have got to get on top of them very, very quickly and force them into bad situations.
Murray Bannerman has been outstanding for Chicago as Tim Young moves in against Terry Ruskowski on the draw. Young centering McAdam on the right, Payne on the left. Off the face-off now, McAdam goes to the corner. Puck was knocked away. Maxwell will keep it in on the point. Maxey lets it go. It goes wide. And Grant Mulvey now starts out for Chicago. Grant Mulvey from outside the line, whistling it wide of the North Star goal. Knocked back behind the goal, out the other side. Mulvey goes in against Hartsburg. Now Ruskowski goes down in the corner as Young knocks it free, but Feimster keeping it in for the Hawks. Puck loose out in front. Now Payne covering up for Minnesota. Payne and McAdam out to center as the puck goes into the Chicago zone. Fox battling McAdam. Now Ruskowski for Chicago. Gets it across the zone line, out to center ice, losing it to Tim Young as Young circles back in his own zone. Jimmy Young, number 17, hands it for Mulvey, who plays it deep into the North Star zone. And Hartsburg back behind Malott. Hartsburg starts out Payne. Payne carries across his own line to center. McAdam ran into Maxwell, and Hartsburg covers up for the North Star.
Payne picked up that puck. He wasn't skating with it. As a result, got checked from behind. You get that puck, you've got to move quickly with it. You can't just go slowly, not in a game like this.
Here comes Rich Preston now for Chicago, carrying across the North Star line. Ciccarelli broke it up. Wilson takes the shot, a save by Malott. Hartsburg tried to cover up the rebound, and they rule it a hand pass with 10:05 remaining here in the first period.
Hartsey tried to pull that puck underneath him when he was down, inadvertently knocked the puck with his hand. One of his teammates picked the puck up, so the referee, Dennis Morrell, rules of a hand pass. The faceoff will come to the right of goaltender Gilles Meloche.
Larry Ness back behind the North Star bench. You saw Maxwell there looking at the tape on his stick. Face-off is to the right of Gilly. The intensity has remained tonight high as it has for the first two games. Now Giles for the North Stars. Clearing it up for Dino Cicerelli on the right side. Wilson will keep it in, off for Lysiak. In the corner now for Sutter. Sutter for the Hawks has it picked off over there by McCarthy as Sutter was ridden out heavily by Giles. Now it's Dino Cicerelli carrying to center, off for Bobby Smith. Smith across the Chicago line. The shot goes wide of the goal as McCarthy gives the Chicago player Lysiak a shot. Cicerelli scores! Dino Cicerelli at the side of the cage tips it past Bannerman, and the Stars lead 2-0.
And that goal comes at 10-22. Tommy McCarthy has got to be credited for a lot of the play right there, taking out Lysiak on that far side, enabling the puck to go back to the point. Minnesota let the shot go from the point, and I believe it was Roberts letting the shot go. And Cicerelli at the side of the cage, I think, just got a stick on it and was able to deflect it.
Well, the North Stars enjoy a 2-0 lead. That's the first in this series.
Yes, like I said, it's the first time they scored in this first period, and that is so important.
They'll wait for the official announcement on the goal. The time 10:22 of the first period, and it's 2-0 Stars. This is Neil Broughton to center, tripped by Savard. Savard's going to go.
What a time this is for a penalty, a key time for Minnesota.
Tonight's broadcast comes your way from the stadium here in Chicago.
Here, right on Savard. Watch right here. He hooks Broughton right in here and pulls him down, and he gets the gate. The North Star goal was scored by Roberts. Cicerelli did not get his stick on it, but Cicerelli and Bobby Smith both pick up assists on that goal by Gordy Roberts to give the North Stars a 2-0 lead, and now they have a power play. And Bob, this is an area that has not been very successful for the North Stars as of late.
Something like 6.7% in the playoff. Well, 1 of 15.
Which is, they rank 16th of all the teams in the league right now in the playoffs, which there are 16 teams.
Bain playing it to an open point. After it now goes Bobby Smith. 1:38 to go in the penalty time to Savard. Smith carries to the corner. Back behind the goal. Smith still with the puck for Minnesota. Back for Broughton on the point. Broughton watched by Patterson for Hartsburg. Hartsburg to shot. Bannerman makes the save. Up along the boards now. Gardner for Chicago. Flipping it high in the air and down the ice. Back after it goes Broughton, off for Bobby Smith.
You know, Broughton also got the puck out over the blue line. That way, if it is picked up by a Chicago player, at least it will be an offside call.
Hartsburg hooked down by Fox. Patterson clears the puck all the way down the ice. Stopped by Malash. He'll knock it away from Gardner. Gardner didn't even go after it, so Malash knocking it over now to Hartsburg. 55 seconds to go in the penalty time to Savard. Tim Young carrying to center, bringing the boards in the Chicago zone. Kept in by Smith. No one home. Left point.
Well, that's just a communications breakdown there. I don't believe that Young had any intentions of moving over there, trying to open up a little bit. But Bobby didn't quite look behind there. And usually you have a feel of players and where they are.
Young keeps it in for Maxwell. The drive is saved by Bannerman. And there are 27 seconds left in the penalty to Savard. We passed the 12-minute mark of the first period, and the Stars lead 2-0. Smith and Roberts, the goal scorers.
That's a good shot right there. Watch what happens. You've got guys coming in from both sides. You've got Cicerelli coming in from the right. You've got Bobby Smith coming in from the left. So if there is a rebound, they're both right there. And I think those two guys are more than capable of scoring 2 goals.
They've changed the goal. Cicerelli from Roberts and Smith now at 10:22. So we had it right the first time.
All right.
Cicerelli is not a crowd favorite here in Chicago. McCarthy now up along the boards. Off for Mark Johnson, tied up by Hutchinson. Johnson off for McCarthy. McCarthy for Al McAdam. McAdam back for Maxwell. Maxwell over for Captain Young. Off for Johnson. Johnson back for Maxwell. Maxwell takes the shot. Bannerman made the save. They score on the rebound, Mark Johnson. And it's 3-0 Minnesota.
And a very costly penalty to Dennis Savard. He's arguing the call, but it was a good call by the referee. Mark Johnson comes in here from Pittsburgh, and I'll tell you, right here, now watch what Johnson does. He moves right at that puck as McCarthy goes down, and he's got it, and he puts it over the netminder, Murray Bannerman, to give the North Stars a 3-0 lead. And that comes at 12:25 of this first period.
Off the face-off now, out at center ice. Wilson for Chicago, clearing it in. Roberts breaks it up ahead now for Palmer. Palmer off for Broughton, and it's offside. Tonight's broadcast comes your way from the stadium here in Chicago. Well, the North Star goal, Smith from Cicerelli and McCarthy at 2:25, Cicerelli from Smith and Roberts at 10:22, and now Johnson from Maxwell and McCarthy at 12:25.
That was a good shot by Maxwell from the point, too. We've said how many times they've missed the net on their shots. As you can see, Meloche holding his pads right together. The sticks are getting up a little bit. Secord and Gordy Roberts. But that shot by Maxwell, right on the target. A rebound comes out, and Johnson gets it. It didn't hit the boards and deflect out or wide or anything like that. Watch right here. And you see Secord going in after the goaltender, and Roberts right there to assist him.
Okay, you can order your 82-83 North Star season tickets now, and you can get great savings. Making a $50 per seat deposit, you can select your seat location for next year's game. Make an appointment, call weekdays, 853-9340. The number again, 853-9340 to order your North Star season tickets for 82-83.
Give Gordy Roberts a lot of credit. Remember when Beaupre got in trouble in Minnesota?
Hutchinson has it tipped by Sharpley. It was not much of a shot by Hutchinson, but it doesn't have to be. I believe it was Sharpley that changed directions at 12:51.
Well, we talked about those face-offs being ever so important. And right there, the face-off came back from Savard to Hutchinson, who let the shot go, and Sharpie just tipped it, and it barely went over the line, but it did go over. It brings the Blackhawks back within 2. That comes at 12:51 of the first period.
Well, it gets Chicago back within 2. It's now 3-1. Big goal for Chicago as they were digging themselves a hole here in the first period, and it gets the crowd back into the game here at the Chicago Stadium. Wilson now for Chicago. Up too far for Savard. Carries into the North Star zone, and Hartsburg goes back for Minnesota. Up on the left side now for Hawkinson. He puts it behind Ken-Eric Anderson. Anderson dumping it out to center. Savard for Chicago for Wilson. Back now for Savard down the right side. Savard cuts in. He had Sharpley in the slot, but breaking it up was number 4, Craig Hartsburg. Now it's Hawkinson clearing down inside the Chicago zone, and Feimster will go back for Chicago. 6:25 remain here in the first period. 3-1 in favor of Minnesota. Stop by Meloche, off now for Maxwell. Maxwell for Payne for Young. Tim Young carrying the center, clearing it into the Chicago zone. Bannerman lets it go to the corner. Payne ridden out over there by Mulvey. Young, a centering pass, hit the net. Now it's number 8, Terry Ruskowski for Chicago. Goes across the North Star line. Kept in over there by Fox, but knocked back out by Roberts, and Feimster goes after it for Chicago. We've passed the 14-minute mark of the first period. 3-1 in favor of the Stars. Ruskowski clearing it into the North Star zone. Gordy Roberts. Out to center ice. Ruskowski now for Chicago. Watched by Young. Off for Fox. Fox for Feimster. Feimster across his own line to center. Bothered by Young. Carries into the North Star zone. Knocked down by Giles. Young along the boards on the right side now for Al McAdam. McAdam has it tipped by Lysiak. Off now for Fox. Fox getting it for Feimster. Up for Preston and into the North Star zone it goes with Giles going back after it. Shadowed by Lysiak. Giles off for Dino Cicerelli. Broken up there by Wilson. Back to the North Star end and Giles. Watched by Sutter. Off for McCarthy. Picked up by Bobby Smith. Smith going down the left lane, carrying into the Chicago zone. Bumped by Murray. Preston has the puck. And the faceoff will come to the right of Bannerman with 4 minutes and 51 seconds remaining here in period number 1. Ted Robinson from North Star Radio fame will be Tom's special guest during our first intermission. And then Stan Mikita, former teammate of Tom's, our guest during the second.
Stan's in the Hockey Hall of Fame, and he can attribute some of that success to playing with me.
Very little.
I was in the Hall of Fame. I went up there a couple of years ago. Closest I've been, I guess.
Sharpley got the goal for Chicago, his second of the series. Secord and Hutchinson get the assist for Chicago. 12:51, the time of the goal. And Bannerman comes up with a big save there for Chicago with 4:48 to go here in the first. Again, the only other game completed so far today, the Rangers beat Philly 4-3.
You see Bobby Smith getting a draw. And look what happens there is that Tom McCarthy is left all alone. The Chicago winger, Daryl Sutter, pulling out there just a little bit too quickly and left McCarthy alone, but Bannerman makes a save for Chicago. The North Stars lead 3-1. The first time any teams have scored goals in this first period. This is a third game. This is a must game for the North Stars, who are behind in the series by 2-0.
Behind the goal now, Bob Murray. The Stars have won but once here in Chicago since 1972. That was last November when they beat the Hawks 7-1 here. By last November, I mean November of 1980. Season before this one. Murray back inside his own zone, getting it over for Wilson. The Stars here this year were 0-2-1 during the regular season. Long pass too far for Secourt. Two-line pass anyway.
The Secourt cutting across there.
Tonight's broadcast comes your way from the Chicago Stadium.
22 remaining. It's 3-1 for Minnesota. Been a good first period.
Gives an indication of a few goals going up on the board this evening. Both teams have had excellent scoring chances. Stars have capitalized, obviously, already on 3. The Hawks on 1, but Meloche has made 2 impossible saves. Now it's Kristoff on the right side, carrying out to center ice. Sutter battling Kristoff. Puck knocked loose by Sutter, shoved by Maxwell. Sutter getting it off now for Preston. Preston carries into the North Star zone, stopped by Hartsburg. Palmer and Preston go to the boards. Now Broughton starts back the other way for Minnesota. Neil Broughton out to center ice, going across the line, offer Maxwell a shot, blocked by Fox. Here goes Lysiak. Here comes a break for Chicago, 2-on-1. Anderson back. Maxwell getting back in the play, though. Backhander by Preston was knocked down out in front, and falling on the puck, Ken-Eric Anderson until the line.
Anderson was down there on the play just a few seconds prior to that. Kristoff appeared to have been hurt again. He dropped the stick. He went to the bench, and he will apparently be having some shoulder surgery after the season. Went over there, and the North Stars were not quite prepared for it, or ready for a change. And McAdam was a little slow coming off, didn't realize that Kristoff had gone to the bench, and that kind of opened up the door a little bit for Chicago. But Anderson coming back, going down, trying to smother the puck, but the puck came under the goaltender, who finally grabbed onto it. The Blackhawks are questioning the call. It should have been a call, they're saying, for delay of game or whatever, but Dennis Morrell says, no, that's all right what he did. And there's a face-off to the left.
Off the face-off, Murray keeping it in for Chicago. Bert Giles goes to the corner. Big hit there by Grant Mulvey as the puck makes its way down into the Chicago zone. Murray goes back, and icing will be called against Minnesota with 3:21 to play in the period.
Bob, that's what makes a team Stanley Cup contenders. Right there, Kurt Giles knew full well that he was going to be hit very heavily into the board, but he continued to go in there to get the puck first. That's his number one priority, to get the puck and move it out. Number two is, how do I protect myself from getting injured? You can't back up and start throwing snow in this game. Once you become timid and hear those footsteps behind you, you may as well get another job.
And I did years ago.
Well,
face-off coming to the right of Meloche. 3:21 to play first period. 3-1 North Stars. Smith, Cicerelli, and Johnson. Good to see the guys that are supposed to be scoring goals scoring in here in the first period.
Yeah, that's why the North Stars wound up in first place in their division, because they had those guys scoring goals, and they expect it from them.
There's a big chance. Mark Johnson a shot. Bannerman makes the save. The rebound in the corner. Hawkinson a centering pass, knocked down out in front. Kept in by Gordy Roberts. And Bannerman will stop it back behind the goal. We've hit now the 17-minute mark of period number 1, 3-1 North Stars. Sharpley has the Chicago goal. As Ruskowski spins down the right side, gets it to center. Giles breaks it up. Back off for Johnson. And picked off and turned by Murray. Bob Murray for Chicago from center. Saved by Meloche. And a souvenir almost for the people in the press box. 2:41 left in the first period.
Well, some people aren't very happy with the play of their respective teams. The owner of the Pittsburgh Penguins, Edward DiBartolo, has issued a statement that he is very upset with them and that he's not even going to go to the game tonight. They play against the Islanders at home, and he said that any fan who's got a ticket and wants to return that ticket for a full refund can do so prior to that game. It really doesn't do a lot for selling your own product.
No, it doesn't. But I suppose even as losing 8-1 and 7-2, they've been outscored 15-3 in the first two games. But you got to feel sorry for Pittsburgh, too. They were given the most impossible job as the Islanders went off the bat.
The Islanders are unbelievable. And exactly right. You've got to look at who you're playing, too.
Secord now for Chicago at center, losing it for Young. Off now for Brumwell, back for Freddie Barrett. Look out in the Chicago bench.
I passed him a little bit high. Guys used to do that in practice. We'd put our glove on the end of our stick, on the blade part, and say, here, give me another pass. See if I can catch it this time.
2 minutes, 23 seconds to go here, first period. Other games tonight. Montreal at Quebec. The Islanders at Pittsburgh. Boston at Buffalo. Vancouver, Calgary, Winnipeg, St. Louis, at Edmonton and L.A. We'll talk about those series a little bit later on. 3 clubs are on the so-called brink of elimination. North Stars being one of them, Buffalo the other, Pittsburgh a third, and Calgary the fourth. Other 4 series are 1-1. Out to center ice now, Payne dropping it off for Brumwell, who slams it in, gloved and dropped by Bannerman. Off for Secord on the left wing. Out to center ice, kept in though by McAdam before he could get there. Off for Steve Payne. Payne for the North Stars, just failed to click with Young. Young knocks it back behind the goal. And Fox now for Chicago with 2 minutes remaining in the period. Al McAdam taken down by Fox. Savard back for the Hawks. Works it ahead for Secord. Secord for Sharpley. Sharpley for Feimster. Feimster into the North Star zone, dropping it back for Savard. Tim Young in deep for the North Stars, up along the boards now for Al McAdam. McAdam with 1:40 remaining in the first period, heading it out for Painter at center ice, slamming it in. Gloved and dropped by Bannerman, and off now for Dave Feimster. Feimster for the Blackhawks. For Tommy Lysiak. Lysiak for Sharpley, cleared into the North Star zone, and back after it goes Maxwell. Off now for Smith, out, knocked back in offside by Wilson. Lysiak does not seem to be playing as well tonight as he did the first 2 games.
Well,
I haven't noticed him as much.
No, not at this point we haven't, but everyone else, I think, is a little bit stronger right now, too. So we are seeing more effort from some of the players, and especially the North Stars in this game. So when one guy stands up so dramatically and the other guy starts to play better, you start to pick them out a little bit more as well.
Lysiak out there right now for Chicago. Darryl Sutter's on his left. Rich Preston is on his right. Fox and Murray for Chicago. It's Smith at center, McCarthy on the left wing, Cicerelli on the right side with Hartsburg and Maxwell, the defenseman for the North Stars. Now Cicerelli out to Bobby Smith at center ice. Smith popping into the Chicago line, knocked down by Bob Murray. Now Murray for the Hawks, carries to center, up for Lysiak for Sutter, broken up by Craig Hartsburg. Hartsburg had some difficulty there as it was knocked off his stick by Preston, and Meloche covers it up as we pass the 19-minute mark, and we're down to 59 seconds to play here in the first period.
Here's that play right here. Hartsy just couldn't seem to quite get it, but see how he's turning towards the net? Really, he should try to turn away. If he's unsure what's behind him, go the opposite way with it, or don't handle it, pass the puck immediately across to your teammate there, but don't start to fool around that area, because if you do lose it, and the team is breaking in there like Chicago was doing, a good chance for them.
Face off to the left of Meloche. Again, Smith, Cicerelli, and Johnson, the goal scorers for Minnesota tonight. Glenn Sharpley has scored for Chicago. Twins lost this afternoon. They were beaten by California 8-1. Of course, made the big trade with the Yankees, shipping Roy Smalley to New York. They get Ron Davis and a couple of minor league ball players in return. So the hard-throwing Yankee right-hander will be wearing a Twins uniform, and Roy Smalley will put on the pinstripes, and he'll move to New York. He will not wear number 5. That's retired. Joe DiMaggio wore that a long time ago for the New Yorkers as Tim Young carries in. Off now for Al McAdam. McAdam bumped by Lysiak, and now Wilson goes back behind the goal. Wilson off now for Bob Murray. Murray back for Wilson. Wilson to center. Clears into the North Star line. Penalty coming up against Payne. Now Payne's after the official, and I'm not sure what that's all about, but he better watch himself or he may get an unsportsmanlike conduct.
Well, he picks up 2 minutes for interference. Took Preston down on that far side as Preston was trying to cut in. Watching the left-hand side of you. Nope, didn't get it there. But anyway, the call is interference. 39 seconds remaining in this first period, so that comes at 19:21. And Minnesota, first time they've had a penalty in this game, and this will give the Blackhawks a power play opportunity. In the playoffs, the Blackhawks are 25%, scoring 2 goals on 8 opportunities. There's 6 overall.
Anderson against Ruskowski, a pair of number 8. As Chicago given a chance here, Tommy, to get within 1. It's a big penalty-killing effort coming up here for the North Stars.
It really is. The North Stars have killed off 75% of the penalties against them in the playoffs, and that's what can make or break a team.
Giles clearing it down the ice. We have just 30 seconds remaining here in the first period. Bob Murray going back behind the Chicago goal. Now Murray for the Blackhawks. Starts out Terry Ruskowski, 20 seconds to play in the period. Ruskowski going across the North Star line, stopped by Hawkinson. There are 14 seconds to play in the period. This about end as it's back in the Chicago zone now. Murray swings out with 8 seconds to go. Up for Ruskowski. 5 seconds to play in the period. Ruskowski, it's offside with 2 seconds remaining here in the first period. Terry Ruskowski. Look at the Chicago captain, a little spark plug. Been hampered by knee problems the last couple of years.
He's a tough little cookie. Picked up 120 penalty minutes in 60 games this season for the Blackhawks. Has failed to score any points so far in this series.
And there goes the siren horn, whatever it is, and that is the end of the first period of play here in Chicago. With the score, the North Stars 3, the Chicago Blackhawks 1. Tonight's broadcast comes your way from the Chicago Stadium.
On the other hand, the Blackhawks, who have played extremely well up in Chicago, they did their job and did it well.
In Minnesota,
in Minnesota. Can they go any higher? Can they play any better with more intensity than they played up there?
Well, Tom, as a former player, I thought Chicago played as near to the 100% intensity level in the 2 games in Minnesota as probably as humanly possible. How long can you continue to give that kind of effort?
Well, in playoffs, you can give it for quite a while. The North Stars last year did the same thing in the playoffs. They played extremely well all through those playoff series. When you've got something on the line, when you've got not only money, but you've got our personal pride and the attention, the fact that we're here and all the media is here with us, and so on, that hypes the players up at the same time, too.
And also explain to the fans that the punishing style, the punishing physical style that Chicago played at the net, that hurts them, too.
Oh, sure it does.
To do that.
Sure. You know, we talk about getting hit and so on. Don't ever think that just because you've been hit, it doesn't hurt the other guy. It does. It takes its toll eventually. You can't continuously go and hit somebody and not feel it. You look at boxers, you know, they get in there, they may win a fight and pummel another guy, but that takes a lot of energy out of them as well. The thing is, who's going to tire first? The guy being hit or the guy doing the hitting?
Better to be the hitter than the hittee.
Well, not always. And we go back to the case with Hutchinson and Jack Carlson. Jack, unfortunately, missing this game once again because of that injured hand. It's still swollen, very tender. Hutchinson is back playing for the Blackhawks.
Well, we have some time. Any other surprises, really, in the other playoff series around the league?
Well, as I look at it right now, I would have to say that the surprise is perhaps Quebec going into Montreal and winning in Montreal.
And winning tonight at home.
They're winning once again. The Rangers, I expect the Rangers to
that's not a final, by the way. The Ranger-Philadelphia game is. Quebec-Montreal is not a final.
And that's in Quebec, by the way. As you can see, the bottom ones are the home teams. The Islanders, that's no surprise. Buffalo, that's a little bit of a surprise because Boston's played so well. I look for Boston to win that series. This one right here, the Vancouver-Calgary. I thought Calgary might win something in Vancouver. They did not. Vancouver won both of those games. The last game they won in overtime at the 16-minute mark. So that's been a very tough series as well. No score in that Winnipeg-St. Louis game as of yet, and that series is tied up at 1 apiece. And I think the other surprise has to be Los Angeles winning that first game in Edmonton and a very defensive battle by a score of 10-8.
Well, then on the second night, Edmonton forced the overtime, but not until there were 4 minutes left to go in the game, and then Gretzky scored the winner 6 minutes and 20 seconds into overtime. All right, now let's focus our attention on Chicago, Minnesota. 1 minute, 5 seconds now to go in the penalty time to Payne as we look at the Chicago power play. Lysiak at center, getting it ahead now for Savard, and Randy Mitten says it's offside. 1:01 now left in Payne's penalty, 19:40 to play here, second period. That is Dennis Savard.
And what a key player he is. He has broken all kinds of records here that were set in this building and in this league for a Chicago player. And we'll talk a little bit to Stan Mikita after the next period and talk about some of the records which were broken because he owned them.
Here comes Ken-Eric Anderson, flipping it into the Chicago zone. Stopped there by Bannerman. 45 seconds now left in the extra man. It's Crossman. starts out for Chicago. Watched by Mark Johnson, off for Wilson. Ahead now for Savard. Wilson going down the left side. Johnson took the pass, swung it along the boards now for McAdams. Stopped by Crossman, but Hartsburg now for the North Stars. They're dangerous, 2-on-1. Johnson with Lysiak back. Johnson goes down. Oh, he goes wide of the net. And the shot goes wide of Bannerman, and Bannerman was shaken up in the goal for Chicago.
Well, Bannerman got hit by Johnson. He's going in there, it appeared. But Johnson, trying to go around him, went down and went heavily into the backboards. He is up and he's okay. Watch right here. Johnson cut. He loses his footing before Lysiak even gets to him. But right here, Bannerman is between Johnson and also the pipe. And he's still down. Tony Esposito coming out to see if he's all right, as well as the trainer. As you look at Bob Holford, and has to be concerned at this point. Esposito has been out with a broken finger. He is ready to play. We'll wait and see.
Okay, tonight's broadcast comes your way from Chicago.
Well, Murray Bannerman says, I'm okay, I'm ready to play. Tony Esposito back on the bench. The North Stars lead 3-1, 19:04 remaining in the second period.
Off the face-off now, Murray back behind the Chicago goal. Just 20 seconds now left in the penalty time to Payne, as Murray now starts out for Chicago. Carries out to center ice, pass for Grant Mulvey. Mulvey motoring in against Hawkinson, goes to the corner against Roberts. Now off for Hawkinson. Murray will keep it in for the Blackhawks. Just 4 seconds to go in the penalty time. Centering pass stopped there by Roberts. Off the stick of Darryl Sutter. Payne is back. North Stars are at full strength. Now Grant Mulvey for the Hawks for Sutter, back behind the goal. Sutter getting it back for Grant Mulvey. Mulvey back for Sutter, comes out in front, and Roberts breaks it up for Minnesota. Here comes Payne for the North Stars. Across the line, takes a shot, he scores! Steve Payne let a shot go from the slot area about 40 feet out and beat Bannerman cleanly at 1:39 here in the second period, and the Stars lead 4-1.
Well, Payne didn't have a chance to get to the bench when he came out of the penalty box, but he lets that quick shot go, and it eludes the goaltender, Murray Bannerman, and it gives the North Stars, and I'm not going to say comfortable 4-1 lead, but it puts them in the driver's seat at this point in the game. But Painter, with that quick wrist shot of his, just snapped it. And I don't think that Bannerman was really expecting at that point, unless that puck deflected a little bit off of the skate of Bob Murray.
Well, Pulper does not look happy back behind the Blackhawk bench. Gordy Roberts gets the assist for Minnesota, Payne's second goal to the playoffs.
And we have to credit Gordy Roberts, too. He got the puck in front of the Minnesota net. He didn't just fire it down the ice to kill it because he was coming at the end of killing a penalty. What he did, he moved the puck up, gave it to Payne right away, and then Payne just moved right up the ice with it.
Murray Brumwell now for Minnesota in his own zone, out to center ice for Tim Young. Into the Chicago zone, up along the boards. Bully bumped over there by McAdam, off for Fox, back behind the goal now for Feimster. Now it's Feimster for Chicago. Starting out, Greg Fox. Fox at center, clearing it into the North Star zone. Skips into the corner. Brumwell back against Ruskowski. Now Mulvey moves in against Payne. As Ruskowski now and Brumwell will do battle there. Freddie Barrett moves over. You can see the Stars have a lot more life tonight, and Chicago doesn't seem to have as much spring.
No, they really don't.
They are not playing with the intensity they played out the first two games. Tonight's broadcast comes your way from Chicago. Bob Kurtz and Tom Reed back here at the Chicago Stadium. We've got 17 minutes and 51 seconds remaining in the second period. The Stars lead the Hawks 4-1. Hawks, though, lead in games 2-0 in this best-of-5 series. Hutchinson, a shot! A big save by Gilles Melange, off for McCarthy and out to center, where Wilson dumps for Secord. Melange has been outstanding. Tipped by Cicerelli, and it goes into the crowd.
He has been outstanding. He has come up with some key saves. The rebound there, just out of the reach of Al Secord, and Tom McCarthy very alertly got the puck out over the Minnesota blue line, and that forces, of course, all the Chicago players to come back out and regroup.
Face off in the neutral zone. Now it'll carry into the Minnesota zone. Stopped there by Melange as Hartsburg goes back behind the Minnesota goal. Bobby Smith, Dino Cicerelli, Mark Johnson, and Steve Payne, the goal scorers for the North Stars. Bobby Smith carrying to center ice, dipsy-doodling across the Chicago line. Carries in deep, grabbed by Secord and knocked down. Hutchinson now for the Hawks for Sharpley on the right wing. Sharpley seaming down the right side, moves across the North Star line, pass off for Secord. Secord put it out in front, no one there for Chicago. Now Hutchinson knocking down Smith sharply after the puck, and Hartsburg pops it into the Chicago zone. Bannerman steering it out to Secord on the left wing, bothered by Dino Cicerelli. Now it's Brad Maxwell, in turn taken away by Secord. Here come the Hawks. Secord trying to get it off towards the bar, broken up by Hartsburg. Secord trying to keep it in for Chicago, but Smith will bring it out. He steps on a stick, and down he goes.
Got a hooking penalty, I believe, to Secord.
Secord's going to get the gate, but I thought Smith stepped on the stick.
What happened was Hartsburg shot the stick that was laying on the ice, shot it at the puck.
Tonight's broadcast comes your way from Chicago.
Right here is when Craig Hartsburg shot the puck, or the stick at the puck right there, and could have been called for a penalty. Bobby Smith starts to skate away, but Secord pulls him down, and that's only Secord's second penalty in this series. He picked up one major penalty in the first game against Maxwell, and for a guy who's picked up 303 minutes during the course of the season, he has not been penalized too much in this series. It's only a second penalty, but it gives the North Stars another power play opportunity. They scored one of their goals, their third goal, in fact, Mark Johnson scoring, while Dennis Savard was off hooking in that first period.
So the Stars' power play is 1 for 1 so far tonight after going 1 for 15. They'll roll back into the Minnesota zone, stopped there by Gilles Malage. Maxwell and Broughton will play the point. Smith, Payne, and Cicerelli are the forwards. Brad Maxwell out for Bobby Smith, shadowed by Bill Gardner. Now for Neil Broughton. Broughton getting it off for Maxwell, ahead for Smith, 3-on-2 for the North Stars. Payne cutting in, back for Smith, watched by Patterson, played back for Maxwell at the line. It comes across the line, and here comes Chicago. Broken up by Maxwell. Maxwell back into the Chicago zone. Moving the puck back for Smith. Smith over for Broughton with a pass. That's a little high. Neal had difficulty handling it. Now Broughton on the left point for Payne. Payne dropping it back for Broughton. Watched by Rick Patterson. Now for Bobby Smith. In the corner now for Cicerelli, back for Payne. Now for Broughton. Neil Broughton for Maxwell. Maxwell had it tipped by Gardner and down the ice. 55 seconds to go in the penalty time to Secord.
Malage puts a pretty good decon there.
Here comes Broughton. Off now for Bobby Smith. Smith with a full head of steam across the line. Fakes the shot and bounces over his stick. Chases it down around now for Dino. Dino getting it back for Hartsburg. Hartsburg fakes the shot the first time. Now takes the shot. That was knocked down. Smith comes up with it. Back for Broughton to drive. It's tipped. Saved by Bannerman. Payne scores on the rebound.
Oh!
Second goal of the night for Payne. His third of the playoffs, and it's 5-1 North Stars. And the sleeping giant, Tommy, has awakened.
He has awakened, and that's what they were waiting for. Watch right here. Now look at Painter. He gets it, lifts it high over the goaltender. Nobody in front of him whatsoever. But Minnesota doing an excellent job on the power play. We talked about that before, how they have got to capitalize on those situations. They are doing it here tonight. And it's 5-1 for Minnesota. 5:01 gone in the second period.
Off now for Giles, out to center ice, stopped by Wilson. Now Hawkinson breaks it up. Now Lysiak for Chicago, off for Doug Wilson. Wilson watched by Mark Johnson. Now for Hutchinson. Hutchinson carrying to center across the line, backhanding it into the North Stars zone, stopped by Malak. Giles after it along with Sutter. Kept in now by Doug Wilson. The shot, that was deflected wide. Sutter goes back after it. He's hit over there by Anderson, or Hawkinson rather, who lost his helmet in the process as the puck goes all the way down the ice. Isaac gets called against Minnesota. 14 minutes and 21 seconds to play here in the second period. And it is 5-1 for the North Stars. Sleeping giant I was referring to wasn't Payne, it was the North Stars.
Broughton and Bobby Smith pick up the assist on that goal. I'm sorry, I was listening to that.
But it wasn't Payne that I was talking about with the sleeping giant. It's for the whole team. Although Payne has scored 2 goals tonight and played well.
He is a giant. He can use that size so well to his advantage. I look at some of those guys who try to hit him and they just bounce off of it. That makes you feel good as a player, too. I think it does anyway. Somebody told me that one time.
5-1 Minnesota. Stan Mikita will be our guest during the second intermission. Off the face-off now, controlled by Chicago. Mulvey the shot, a high streamer that went way over the top of the net. Shot by Fox was knocked down, and we've got a penalty coming up here against Murray Brumwell. Who says, oh no, that should be on Ted Bully. Freddie Barrett agrees, but Dennis Morrell doesn't, and so it'll be Brumwell. It'll be getting the game from Minnesota. Tonight's broadcast comes your way from the Chicago Stadium.
A penalty, I agreed with Bob. I thought he was calling it on Murray Brumwell, but he called Freddie Barrett for holding the face-off just inside the Minnesota blue line.
After it now goes Wilson, taking it from Bannerman back behind the goal. Doug Wilson for Chicago. Pass going to Bob Murray. The crowd has been diffused, as you can probably figure out a bit here. It's cranked along the boards. And Ken-Eric Anderson now with Anders Hawkinson come to center for Minnesota. Anderson slams it in. Bannerman makes the save. Murray back behind the net. 1:30 left in the penalty time to Freddie Barrett. 13:40 to play, second period. 5-1 for the North Stars. Here comes Savard. Savard now for Chicago, off for Secord. Secord back behind Meloche for Lysiak. Murray tried to keep it in for Chicago. Here comes Mark Johnson now for the North Stars. Back is Wilson. Johnson a drive, and Bannerman prevents the shorthanded goal.
And what a shot that was by Johnson. He stayed just out of the reach of defenseman Doug Wilson and unleashed one similar to Payne scoring on a surprise shot on an earlier goal.
Here comes Savard. He goes down. Penalty coming up against the North Stars.
Whoa. The North Stars are going to be 2 men short.
Freddie Barrett still has 52 seconds to serve in his penalty. The time of the penalty will be 6 minutes and 57 seconds. It'll be Hartsburg.
Right there's a call. Good call by the official, Dennis Morrell. And it's too bad. It looked like Anderson could have gotten in there to take Savard out of the play. However, Harsey picks up a hooking penalty. And the Blackhawks certainly not out of it yet at this point. They're behind 5-1, but they've got a 2-man advantage right now.
Third penalty to the North Stars for a total of 6 minutes. And as I mentioned, Freddie Barrett still has 52 seconds to serve in his holding call. And now the Chicago power play with Bruskowski, Sutter, Grant, Mulvey, Crossman, and Wilson out there. Roberts, Giles, and Broughton are the 3 Minnesota North Stars in front of Meloche. It's Bruskowski. Bruskowski drops it back with a guy with a huge shot. Meloche makes the save. Broughton controls the rebound. Broughton goes past Wilson. Broughton cutting in against Crossman. Broughton almost made it around before Crossman took the puck away. Now Crossman back to center for Chicago. Freddie Barrett's back in 25 seconds. Broughton back behind the goal. Gordy Roberts up with the puck in the corner. Can't get it past Crossman. Crossman a drive. I think he hit the goalpost. Crossman again. Stopped by Meloche, who holds on.
Whoa. Action, I'll tell you, in the Chicago end, and Gilles Meloche has been spectacular. There was a rebound right there with Ruskowski standing right on the doorstep, but watch how quickly Meloche gets that stick out, pulls the puck in underneath him, and he prevents a goal and forces a face-off to his left.
He stopped the first one, or did that hit the pipe?
I believe he stopped them both.
15 seconds left in Barrett's penalty. 1:23 left in the hooking call against Hartsburg. 12:26 remains here in the second period. The Stars lead 5-1.
Murray Brumwell playing in his first playoff game in this series, and his first in the National Hockey League.
Stars win tonight. Game 4 is tomorrow night at 7:30 here on Channel 9. And a fifth game, if necessary, would be back at the mat on Tuesday night. There's Freddie Barrett and Craig Hartsburg. Dennis Savard moving in against North Star captain Tim Young. Young, Maxwell, and Brumwell are out there to kill it off of the North Stars.
Well, Savard moving a little bit too quickly. Randy Mitten, the linesman, says, "You move too quickly, I tell you not to, you're out of it." And that brings in Zlyzak.
Off the face-off, back now for Bob Murray, over for Doug Wilson, back for Murray. Murray off for Lysiak, who fanned on it. Lysiak back behind the goal, getting it back for Wilson. Barrett's back in 4 seconds. Wilson for Lysiak. Lysiak for Wilson. That was knocked down. Murray. Murray takes the shot. That goes wide. Barrett's back. The Stars are down a man. Hartsburg's got a minute to serve. Wilson keeping it in for Chicago. A shot. That deflects off the glass. Young fighting Murray for it. Here come the North Stars. Brumwell carrying out to center and dumps it into the Chicago zone. 50 seconds left in the penalty call against Hartsburg. Lysiak. Across the North Star line, trying to cut in and staying right with him is Murray Brumwell, who has played well. Savard.
Lost it on a stick.
Savard cutting out in front. Now back behind the goal he goes again. Right, a centering pass. That was stopped by Maxwell. And with 25 seconds left in the penalty to Hartsburg, down it goes.
A good play by Maxwell. He realized the goaltender didn't have a stick. He lost it as Lysiak was cutting across there. And Maxie just fires the puck down the ice.
Comes Ruskowski. He forgot the puck. And Anderson now for Minnesota with only 10 seconds left in the penalty rides it into the Chicago zone. Now the total turnaround here in Game 3. Nothing going Chicago's way tonight as Feimster gets it across the line and the North Stars playing well. Chicago looks like they've lost a bit of the intensity, plus the fact they're not playing as well.
Well, the North Stars aren't letting him play as well either. And that's
true.
one of the keys right now. What's happening, it looks like almost a complete reversal. We've got a high sticking call going against the Blackhawks. And I believe it's going to be against Feimster.
Tonight's broadcast comes your way from the stadium here in Chicago.
I'm not sure if the Blackhawks will pick up a high sticking penalty right here. You can see him go up high with a stick there. And I believe that was Brumwell, I think it was, caught him up high. But anyway, he gets the gate. The North Stars once again in the power play situation.
Face off to the left of Bannerman, Smith, Cicerelli, and Payne with Hartsburg and Broughton on the point. Nice move by Hartsburg away from Gardner. Carrying right on in. Backhanded shot over the top of the net. Cicerelli back for Payne. Out in front. Stopped by Bannerman. Cicerelli scores on the rebound. Another power play goal. And it is 6-1 North Stars.
Well, we said it didn't work before, but whatever they've done, it is working tonight. Reuniting the lines from last season. Hartsey made a good play there. But watch here. Watch where Dino comes now. He's not going to stand there. Look where he's coming. The open side of the net. And all he does is stand there. The puck comes back to him. It's in the net, and the North Stars in the lead by a margin of 6-1. We've got 10:40 remaining in the second period.
So it's looking more and more, fans, like there will be Game 4 tomorrow night. 7:30 broadcast time here on Channel 9. As cutting in now, Patterson off for Troy Murray. Murray goes to the corner out in front. Melange stops that. And the face-off will come in the North Star zone. 10 minutes and 30 seconds to go here in the second period. The Stars well out in front of Chicago, 6-1.
Smith and Payne pick up the assist on that last goal by Dino Cicerelli.
Star power play coming into tonight 1 for 15. It's now 3 for 3, so it's 4 for 18 overall. Smith and who got the assist? Payne?
Smith and Payne.
Payne has 2 goals and an assist tonight. Cicerelli with a couple of goals. And Hartsburg cranking it along the boards past Murray. That'll go all the way down the ice. After it goes Palmer. Also there for Chicago Fox. And icing called against the North Stars with now 10:16 to go in the second period. And this building, which was a rockin' when we started, is rather quiet right now.
And every right to be quiet. The fans back in Minnesota, I'm sure, are enjoying this one. Some of the large screens throughout the Twin Cities. And on their home television sets. But I'll tell you, this is the way the North Stars played last year in the playoffs. If they continue on this fashion, we'll be back at the Met on Tuesday.
And they'll be against either St. Louis or Winnipeg after that.
Well, let's finish this one first.
Kristoff goes back behind the goal, off for Palmer, out to center ice. Fox now for Chicago. Off for Troy Murray. Murray playing it to the North Star line, broken up by Maxwell, and the Stars have the Hawks talking to themselves right now. Nothing is going Chicago's way. Into the North Star zone it goes. Stopped by Melange. Back behind the net. Maxwell knocking it over to Palmer. Palmer now getting it out for Neil Broughton. Broughton coming to center ice. Off for Palmer. And it's offside.
Offside because Secor took Kristoff in. Oh, now we got a fight going. Murray and Palmer. Well, Palmer grabbed him from behind there as... Or I should say Murray grabbed Palmer from behind as he was trying to get set. I was mentioning that Secord pushed Kristoff on the offside on the far side. 14 and 6. This is it right here. That's where it starts. Palmer losing his balance. When you lose your balance,
You're in trouble.
you are in trouble. Anyway, we will have penalties. 2 minutes going against each player. And they'll be roughing on each side.
10:19, the time of the penalty calls here in the second period. 4 penalties for 8 minutes now against each team.
4-1 for Buffalo over Boston.
In the third period, so that
period.
looks like they're going to a 4th game in Buffalo tomorrow night. We already know that Edmonton, Los Angeles will play 4. Winnipeg and St. Louis will play at least 4. I'll tell you who's not going to play 4. That'll be Pittsburgh. They're losing right now 1-0. But I don't know about their chances of beating the Islanders. Rangers and Philly will play 4. Rangers won this afternoon 4-3, their 4th game tomorrow. New York leads that series 2-1. Bert Giles now for Minnesota, out to Tommy McCarthy. McCarthy at center ice, slamming it in. Bannerman gloves and drops for Chicago. And Wilson now for the Hawks, back behind the net for Hutchinson. Now Hutchinson off for Lysiak. Lysiak dropping it back for Wilson. Wilson carrying across the line to Lysiak, and it's offside. 9 minutes and 14 seconds remain here in the second period. 1:33 in the Coincidental Miners for roughing to Palmer of Minnesota and to Bob Murray of Chicago.
Something interesting, Bob. I just noticed they've got 2 sweaters that have been retired here. Number 21, Stan Mikita, who played here 59 through 1980, spent 22 seasons here. And the other one is number 4.
Did you wear that?
I wore number 4 here, but I can't see if that's my name on it or not. No, I think it's Orr. I think it's Bobby Orr. Can't understand that.
He didn't wear it long. Here comes Wilson. Wilson handing it right for McAdam, and McAdam now for Minnesota, off for Tim Young. Young coming out to center ice, takes the shot, goes wide of the Chicago goal, and Hutchinson goes back for Chicago, back behind the net. Now out for Lysiak. We've passed the 11-minute mark of the second period. 6-1 for the North Stars. Lysiak down the left side for Wilson. A big shot and a save by Gilles Millat.
Timmy Young was playing well with his glove there. Went around and got a glove from Steve Payne to put onto his left hand. Here's that shot. Now what's happening is that Wilson, who's got a great shot, and the Blackhawks are going to try to start overpowering the North Stars with their shots.
Why is that?
They want to get anything they can on net. They're behind 6-1 right now. They're just going to start shooting and shooting and shooting, I feel. And also, they may start to get a little bit rough with the North Stars.
I was going to ask you about that.
With the North Stars, right, setting the stage. They may, well think that they're out of this game right now. That means they won't give up.
Well, they dropped the rough stuff tonight, and suddenly they're behind 5 goals. So I would assume it will come back in the game plan. Anderson taking the hit from Sharpley. And the face-off now will go to the left side of Gilles Millat. 8:30 to go, second period. 49 seconds left in the penalty time. And we want to remind you again that Stan Mikita will be talking with Tom during the second intermission.
He's talking about get a glove from the bench as you skate by there if you've lost yours. Seems to me that J.P. Parisi one time was playing, and one of his teammates lost a glove, and J.P. gave him a glove as he went by the bench. But he gave him the same glove he already had, and the guy's out there with 2 right gloves.
There goes Sharpley cutting in. He was taken down by Roberts. As Johnson goes back behind the goal. We want to say hello to J.P.
That's right, J.P. We wish you a very speedy recovery after your surgery a few days ago. Look forward to seeing you back in the press box very soon.
Now Roberts down the right side. Too far for Johnson. Johnson catches up to it, however. Carries into the zone. Off for Roberts. Roberts takes the shot. That was blocked. Then back out in front. Sutter fan. Maxwell now for Minnesota. Getting it over for Johnson. Johnson didn't handle the pass, and Roberts had to play it. Back into the Chicago zone. We're 12 minutes in to period number 2. It is 6-1 North Stars. Palmer and Bob Murray are back in 4 seconds. Sharpley carrying in deep. Both teams are back in full strength now as Kirchhoff comes back the other way. The North Stars are going to get a penalty as Sharpley was taken down in the corner.
Well, Gordy Roberts is going to go. And we've got a little Murray and Palmer hollering on the far side there. Watch right here. See him put the left leg out, and he gets that leg in there, and the referee right there to make the call, Gordy Roberts, gets the gate for the North Stars. That's the fifth penalty for the North Stars. The Blackhawks have had 4, all minor penalties.
12:22 will be the time of the penalty to Gordy Roberts. And now we'll get a look at the Chicago power play.
You know, it's interesting, these two teams in penalty minutes, in the first 2 games, the North Stars have averaged 49, and the Blackhawks have averaged 51.5. I think during the regular season, the average was 22.2 for Chicago, and I believe around 16 minutes for the North Stars. But they increased that total dramatically in that game, the first game back at the Met Center.
So Stars have another one to kill as it goes into the Chicago zone. Stopped by Bannerman, left for Crossman. Crossman now starting out for Chicago, back behind the goal, and Mulvey will play it for the Hawks. Grant Mulvey off now for Crossman, ahead on the left side for Ted Bully. Art Johnson stays with him as the puck skips into the Minnesota zone. Big rebound, Witkowski put it wide. Now back for Wilson. Wilson a drive. That hit the Chicago player Bully, I believe. He is down at the side of the net.
Well, we've got somebody out there who was hit pretty heavily, and he is down.
As he got hit by the big shot. Grant Mulvey is draped over, I believe it is Bully, the fallen Chicago player.
Okay.
And the Chicago trainer has come out, Skip Thayer.
I don't know if that shot hit him or not. To be honest with you, it may have got hit with an errant stick, but the shot looked a little bit too low to hit Bully in the head area, and I think that's where he was hit. Mark Johnson immediately signaled for the Blackhawk trainer to come onto the ice. Well, at least he's close to the door to go down. The dressing rooms here at the Chicago Stadium are down in the basement, below this area, below the ice level, and you've got to go down a very, very steep set of stairs to get down there. More than one player has inadvertently fallen down the stairs. As he was hit on the right side there, just around the eye area. I don't see any of that red stuff on the ice, so it may not be too serious. We'll try and get a report on that. That was Ted Bully who was injured. The face-off will come to the right of goaltender Gilles Meloche. 7:06 remaining in the second period. The North Stars lead 6-1, and the Blackhawks have the power play advantage for 1 minute and 28 seconds, while Gord Roberts serves out the remainder of his tripping penalty.
Off the face-off, a shot by Mulvey was stopped by Barrett. Grant Mulvey again for Chicago. Back for Wilson for Grant Mulvey. Off now for Ruskowski. Ruskowski holds on with a centering pass broken up, and Kenta hits the base hit to center.
It's a nice little chip shot. It looked like a sand wedge to me.
Out now for Ruskowski. Ruskowski out to center ice. 1 minute left in the penalty time to Roberts. Ruskowski goes across the line. Stopped by Barrett. Off for Wilson to drive. Stopped by Meloche. Anderson knocks it away. Wilson keeps it in. Off for Crossman. Crossman off for Ruskowski. Now it's Terry Ruskowski for Chicago. Back for Mulvey, and he's stopped by Meloche.
Well, now we will see. Hit him with that blocker. Al Gillies in the best position in there. He's inside the net. Tough to get hit in there. But Sutter went after Meloche at first, and Meloche let him know he didn't like it. And the players crowded around, and that's when big Grant Mulvey come flying in there. Keep the mask on. Look at the knee. Mulvey's thrown his knee into Meloche's face. Now, I hope the linesman lets the referee know in that case, but he threw the knee twice right into Meloche's face. I would be a little upset.
Well, I'm sure the North Stars will get that way. And again, as we said, Tommy, I expect this stuff to start again.
Okay, let's watch the action now. Here, right here. Now, watch Sutter. I don't know if that was really provocation for Meloche to go at him, but he must have done something. And watch Mulvey come in here. Now they're starting to throw a few right there. Watch where Meloche goes. Here go high-tech K. You see that blocker? That thing doesn't bend. And believe me, if you hit somebody with that thing, it's good night, Irene.
Well, while we get the combatants separated here, we'll tell you that tonight's broadcast comes your... Hold on a second, from the Chicago Stadium.
Fell down, sorting out those penalties. Let's wait for the final call. I don't think anyone's really injured in that melee, but we'll wait and see. I want to see what happens with the two knees that Mulvey threw to the face of Gilles Meloche.
Well, they got 2 minutes up there for Crossman, 2 minutes for a number 9 from Chicago, which I'm assuming is a mistake, because that no one wears number 9 here. That would be 8 Ruskowski, and Meloche is going to pick up 2. Now, what other penalties will be handed out, we're not quite certain. There was no major fight.
Well, there were some
punches thrown, but nothing that I would think would justify a 5-minute major necessarily. But we'll see how they call it.
Mulvey is still questioning the referee, Dennis Morrell, who is looking up at the boards right now.
Now Sutter is over talking with Meloche, who is answering him, as Mulvey now skates over for Chicago.
And Mulvey just ran into the back of Hawkinson. That's the way to do it. If you're going to get somebody, run into his back. I wonder where Jack is right now. I bet he's itching up there.
Now his hand hurts. And we'll await the penalties as Graham Mulvey now skates back to the penalty box area. And the face-off, whenever it comes, will come in the Minnesota zone. We've got 6 minutes and 23 seconds remaining here in period number 2, which will give us the opportunity to check in on some of the other series going around the National Hockey League, starting with the St. Louis at Winnipeg series. St. Louis winning the first game 4-3, and Winnipeg the second 5-2. That is even at 1-1 now, and they're playing at St. Louis tonight. And at last we heard, Winnipeg had scored a goal that's not up on the board right now. It was leading St. Louis 1-0. In the Smythe division, Los Angeles surprised Edmonton the first night 10-8, but Edmonton came back to win in overtime the other night 3-2. That's 1-1. They will play later tonight on the West Coast. The fourth game of that series will not be played Sunday, but rather on Monday, as the Los Angeles Lakers have use of the Forum on Monday night. In the other Smythe Division series, Calgary trails Vancouver 2-0, losing the first night 5-2, and then again Thursday night 2-1 in overtime. They are playing this evening at Calgary. In the Adams Division, Montreal and Quebec even at a game apiece. Game 3 tonight at Quebec, and Quebec is out in front of the Canadians in that one. Should be somewhere along the third period by now. On the scoreboard here as a 2-0 Quebec. Buffalo and Boston. Boston led 2-0 with Game 3 at Buffalo tonight, but Buffalo with the lead over Boston in that one. The Islanders steamrolling the Pittsburgh Penguins in the Patrick Division, and the New York Rangers lead the Philadelphia Flyers 2-1 now in their series, following their 4-3 victory at Philadelphia this afternoon. Their fourth game coming up at the Spectrum in Philadelphia tomorrow. Let's get the penalties.
2 minutes for roughing. Blackhawk penalties. Number 8, Jerry Ruskowski, 2 minutes for roughing. Number 23, Doug Crossman, 2 minutes for charging. At 13:37, Minnesota penalty Meloche, 2 minutes roughing. Blackhawk penalty Ruskowski, 2 minutes roughing. Crossman, 2 minutes charging at 13:37.
I don't know how you feel about it, Tom, but I think a delay like we've just had for that amount of penalties is ridiculous.
It really is. I don't understand the calls. I thought that was Mulvey that charged in there, not Crossman. They gave Crossman a penalty for charging.
So to call 3 minors, we have a delay of about 10 minutes.
In the first period, St. Louis Blues 2, Winnipeg Jets 1.
Now it's St. Louis 2, Winnipeg 1 in the first period, as the Blues trying to grab a lead in that series. Game tonight at the Checker Dome in St. Louis. Gordy Roberts still in the penalty box. Wilson takes the shot off the face-off and then goes into the crowd.
Well, Johnson got over there just in time to deflect that shot up. And Wilson, he's one of the few guys I think that could put it through a goaltender.
They have 2 minutes and 42 seconds left in Roberts' penalty.
Yeah, I think they've just been pulling on the clock too much. I think there's 42 seconds of Roberts' penalty.
Stars will eventually come out with a man advantage, or should, when they get Roberts back. Now Murray dropping it across for Wilson. Wilson too far for Savard, and that'll be broken up by Brad Maxwell. Maxwell going back behind the goal. Maxey cut off by Savard, getting it over now in the corner for Giles, watched by Murray. Giles going back behind the goal. Grabbed by Murray. Savard digs it free. Back now for Wilson. Wilson off now for Murray. Stopped by Giles. And Maxwell for Minnesota ahead for Mark Johnson. Johnson getting it over for Giles. And Giles now will clear it out off the skate of Maxwell. Roberts is standing, and when he comes on, which he will right now, the Stars will have a one-man advantage. Wilson breaking it up at center ice for Chicago. 1 minute, 10 seconds left in the power play for Minnesota as Wilson knocked down nicely by Giles, and Bobby Smith picks up the loose puck. Smith was dumped by Lysiak behind the play. That drew a roar as Murray now for Chicago in the Blackhawk zone. Watched by Cicerelli. Off now for Lysiak. Smith missed a check and crashed into the board as the puck goes all the way down the ice. Meloche able to get back there for Hartford. 42 seconds left in the North Star power play. 5 minutes to go here, second period. And the North Stars in front by a score of 6-1. Brought across the line for Minnesota, knocked down by Lysiak. And it comes back to center, and Hartford now controls for Minnesota. Hartsey popping it into the Chicago zone. Feimster goes back and golfs it out. Ruled offside by Dennis Morrell with now 19 seconds left in the penalties. 4:42 to go here in the period.
Now look at the penalty box, and now there's Hawkinson as he is serving the penalty for Gilles Meloche. So I mentioned before, I didn't think there was really provocation there for Meloche to go after Sutter unless something was done that we weren't able to pick up. And Sutter did not draw a penalty on the series, but however, Chicago did draw 2 penalties. One to Crossman, one to Ruskowski, and only Meloche gets a penalty for Minnesota.
14 seconds to go in the extra man as Hartsburg will move across the ice. Back now for Payne. Payne across for Young. 7 seconds to go in the penalties. Young chasing it down in the corner. And now coming out is Greg Fox. Fox carrying out to center. Moving across the North Star line. Fans on the shot. He's hit by Payne. The Blackhawks get 2 back. The North Stars 1. Both teams are at full strength as Meloche stops it there at the side. Cross check by Lysiak as the Hawks are starting it.
And Hartsey is also going to get a penalty, I believe, for retaliating. Here we go. Now we mentioned that we thought the Hawks might try something like this to intimidate once again. Those penalties will be at 15:50. Hartsburg and Lysiak.
The case where one should be given something for instigating it, but I doubt they will. They won't.
Well, at the same time, you don't want to take anything. At the same time, you don't want to retaliate and take penalties either. Watch right here. I think I would retaliate in something like that, though. Keep it going there. We might pick it up. Okay.
Blackhawk penalty, Lysiak, 2 minutes cross-checking at 15.
Cross-checking for Lysiak. And what was that one on?
I'm not sure what it was for Hartsburg.
Yeah, it was roughing or high sticking.
15:50 the time of the penalties. Each team has taken 7 tonight for a total of 14 minutes. You're starting to get the idea that something may be brewing here in the third period. Into the corner goes Preston. Preston against Roberts. I think Morrell has done a terrible job. Off now for Sutter, dropping it back for Wilson. Wilson takes the shot. Meloche makes the save, and here comes Payne. Payne carrying to center with McAdam. Across the line, takes the shot. It goes wide. Steered out to center for Preston. Preston working his way across the North Star line for Wilson. Wilson dump. Penalty coming up against Giles. So Chicago will have the extra man. The time of the penalty will be 16:20.
Well, I have to say that there's no question that Morrell did not lose that pee out of his whistle tonight. He's had a lot of opportunities to call it. Wilson streaking down the left side there. Giles just got a piece of him. And the tripping call was made against him. That penalty comes at 16:20. So the Blackhawks have another power play opportunity. First period, we only saw a total of 2 penalties. But in this period, we've had 13 penalties.
Face-off is coming to the right of Meloche.
This game goes much longer, Bob. We're going to have to get overtime pay on this one.
Been a slow-moving game. We still have 3 minutes and 40 seconds to go here in the second period. Off the face-off, chopped out, but not out of the zone as Murray will keep it in for Chicago. Murray across for Wilson. Wilson back for Bob Murray. Murray over now for Savard. Puck tipped there by Maxwell, and Savard gets it again. Back now for Wilson. Wilson for Murray. Murray walking towards the net, takes the shot. Meloche makes the save and holds on. Puck pops loose, and the face-off will come to the left of Meloche as it was low and dead. Minute and 8 seconds left in the penalties to Hartsburg and Lysiak. 1:38 left in the penalty to Giles.
Watch where Secord is. Look at him right there, right in that crease area. He's a big boy, and he's just trying to cause some commotion in there, and seems to be doing a pretty good job of it. 6'1", 205 pounds. It's tough to move sometimes.
Off the face-off now, Roberts sending it all the way down the ice. Stopped by Bannerman, back behind the goal for Chicago. Wilson swings back for the Blackhawks. Out for Dennis Savard. Savard and Secord go across the North Star line. Savard now for Chicago. Takes the shot. Meloche stops that one. Secord now for the Blackhawks. Getting it back for Wilson. Over for Bob Murray. Murray back for Wilson. Wilson takes the shot. Meloche stops that one. And the face-off will come to the right of Gilles Meloche. 38 seconds in Hartsburg's penalty along with Lysiak. 1:08 to go in the penalty time to Giles. 2:48 to play in the period.
There's the man right there who's been spectacular all night long, Gilles Meloche. Just like the goaltending that Chicago received up in Minnesota when Murray Bannerman played so well, we're getting the same kind of treatment right here from Meloche. Stan Mikita has just joined us in the broadcast booth, and he will be visiting with me right after the end of this period.
Broughton tried to get it across the line, kept in though by Wilson. Wilson now for Chicago, over for Murray. Off for Wilson. Wilson takes the shot. That's hit Barrett, and it's stopped by Meloche. And the face-off will go again to the right of the Minnesota goal. 2 minutes and 33 seconds remaining in the second period. Hartsburg's got 23 seconds to serve, as does Lysiak. And Giles' penalty time is now down to 53 seconds. It's been Bobby Smith, Dino Ciccarelli, Mark Johnson, Steve Payne twice, and Dino Ciccarelli again for the North Stars. Sharpley has scored for Chicago. Murray a shot. Mulvey now takes it back behind the net. Steering it out now for Wilson on the left point. Over for Murray. He's watched there by Brumwell. Bob Murray had it tipped by Broughton. Comes out to center ice. And he gets it across for Bob Murray.
That's a chance you take sometimes when you try to pass a puck across with a guy in the center. If he's able to dive and just get the stick on it, that'll deflect it out.
Hartsburg and Lysiak are back. Chicago's manpower advantage still has 24 seconds to go. Ruskowski fires over the top of the net. Wilson a centering pass. Stopped by Brumwell. Tipped away by Bobby Smith. 2-on-1 with Lysiak back. It's Hartsburg cutting in with Broughton. Over for Broughton. It was tipped by Lysiak.
Same play at the other end. You put it across, the stick is out, and they come back the other way.
Ruskowski now for Chicago. Taken away again by Hartsburg. Stars get Giles back. They're at full strength as Hartsburg slams it in. Minute 37 seconds to go in the period. And the face-off will come in the Chicago zone. 6-1 North Stars. Again, Stan Mikita will be talking with Tom Reed during the upcoming second intermission. We want to remind you that if a fourth game in this series is necessary, and it looks like it's going to be, it'll be coming up tomorrow night right here from the Chicago Stadium at 7:30 on Channel 9. Should that fifth game also have to be played, that'll be Wednesday night at the Met at 7:30. Bobby Smith coming out to center Dino Ciccarelli and Tom McCarthy. Roberts and Giles remain as the defensemen. Out to center ice it comes, and Giles will break it up now for Minnesota with 1 minute and 20 seconds to play in the period. Fox now, as it's ruled a two-line pass by Mitten. Out-of-town scoreboard here at the stadium lagging a bit behind. We're trying to pick up the scores off the public address system. But the one over by the organ that we occasionally show you on camera is running behind. I heard a Buffalo 4, Boston 2 score. They still have Buffalo 1, Boston nothing up on the board, so I don't think that's too reliable. Roberts now for Minnesota, wrapping it off the glass, back into the Chicago zone, and Sharpley will go back for the Blackhawks. Getting it ahead too far for Feimster, stopped by Roberts at center. Now for Giles, off for Gordy Roberts, across center, cleared into the Chicago zone. Minute 5 to play here, second period. Fox back behind Anderson. Here comes Feimster now for the Blackhawks, carrying out to center. Across the Minnesota line, watched by Giles, going deep, drops it back across. McCarthy broke that up. And out to center now comes Fox for Chicago, back inside his own line. 45 seconds to play, second period, as Dennis Savard scoots down the ice for Chicago, knocked off his stick, picked up by Bobby Smith, who circles back in the zone for the North Stars. Watched by Savard, off for Giles, now Gordy Roberts, clearing it into the Chicago zone. Vanderman goes out for a skate for the Hawks, leaves it there for Secor, taken away by McCarthy, who almost jammed it in. It wasn't McCarthy, that was Bobby Smith. Now it's Fox, getting it out for Secord. 18 seconds to play in the period. Secord goes down the left side, watched by Maxwell, off for Feimster. Back for Sharpley, a shot that's way wide. Knocked down out in front with a high stick, and Meloche has to be ever alert there as it's kicked in finally by the Blackhawks. It's like Feimster kicked it in, but of course no goal. The whistle had gone first anyway. 9 seconds remain in the period.
Watch it once again. The puck is bouncing right for Minnesota tonight. Everything seems to go right by Meloche, and he's able to grab onto it there. Feimster did get the puck in after. I think out of frustration more than anything else. They're throwing everything at Meloche they can. Nothing is getting by him. On the other hand, the North Stars are playing extremely well. They're moving the puck, but they're skating at the same time. And it seems that the new line combinations that Glenn Somore has instituted, basically the same lines as last year in the playoffs, of course, except for Hawkinson, Anderson, and Mark Johnson. It seems to have rejuvenated the fellows on the ice.
Off the face-off now with 7 seconds to go. Back is Maxwell. Maxwell getting it ahead for Payne. Painter carrying out to center with it. And there goes the horn. That is the end of the second period of play with a score of the North Stars 6 and the Chicago Blackhawks 1. Tonight's broadcast comes your way from the Chicago Stadium.
Like at that time, and recently here, about 2 years ago, when Bobby Hull was in town, Bobby called the Makitas because they were good friends, and Meg got on the phone, and Bobby said, "Hello, Meg," and she didn't know who it was, and finally she said, "Who is this?" And he said, "Well, this is your favorite hockey player." And she says, "Is this Tommy Reed?" And of course Bobby let me know that, and Stan did too, but he really took care of me as a rookie, and of course being a rookie we had to be very submissive to the veterans at that time. That has changed considerably through the years.
Now it's the veterans that are submissive to the rookies.
What an athlete he was. I can remember one game in particular that he got hit with a deflected puck and a weapon sliced his ear for about 62 stitches, right in half. And we were playing in Pittsburgh, and the next night I had a game back here, and the trainer took a protective cup, and they put a band around it, and they taped it to his helmet, and he wore that over the ear and played the next night with 62 stitches in it. And it just looked like somebody taking a pair of scissors and cut right straight through it. But he was an athlete. I had some stats here on him when he played. All total with playoff games and with regular season games, he played in 22 years, 1,549 total games. He had 632 goals, 1,076 assists, and 1,708 points. His penalty minutes, 1,439. But he changed from a guy who was a feisty little, individual to play against, who would fight and use his stick and everything else, to a guy who, for 2 or 3 years in a row, won the Lady Byng Trophy as one of the top players in the league, and yet one of the guys who did not get a lot of penalties. He just reversed his complete play around, and it helped him considerably. He will be in the Hockey Hall of Fame very shortly. There is a 3-year waiting period, and of course this last season was 1980, where this same Chicago Blackhawks team spent his entire career here.
Now you can see the North Stars coming on the ice here for the third period. The Blackhawks were likewise slow in getting back out of the dressing room. Very shortly we'll have the third period, and it's interesting. Obviously the Stars have this one pretty much in hand, barring a tremendous comeback by Chicago. What do you look for here in the third period?
A tough physical period. from the Blackhawks. Stan said the goonism, he doesn't want to see that. I think he's also concerned that it might happen here. It's up to the referee to control it. This sets the stage for tomorrow night. These guys are saying, hey, we may not win this one, but we want to prepare ourselves for tomorrow's game. And there's the guy who's going to be in charge, and the guy who's in charge of the North Stars as well, Glenn Somore. There's not much you can say to your team when you're going to the direction 6-1. Guys, we don't get intimidated. We just play the hockey that got us here at this point, the 6-1, and there's, at the other side, the coach and general manager of the Chicago Blackhawks, Bob Pulford.
It's his team that had the North Stars on the ropes, and they've let them escape.
Yes, not because he wanted them to, but because the North Stars have played a game where they deserve to be in the lead by this score. But Gilles Melange has been spectacular.
So let's see what the final 20 minutes of this one has in store for us. Johnson with Anderson, Hawkinson. Lysiak out for Chicago. Fox now for the Blackhawks. Stopped there by Anderson, and he's immediately hit by an elbow by Fox, and puck goes into the Chicago zone. Up along the boards now in the corner, dug out by Feimster. Back along the boards for Preston, bumped by Hawkinson. Now Lysiak for Chicago, hands it to Anderson. Kenta takes a shot, it goes wide. After the rebound, Hawkinson, penalty coming up here against Chicago, as Preston will get the gate for the Hawks 23 seconds into the final period.
That's the 8th penalty for Chicago, which evens penalties up between these two teams.
Tonight's broadcast comes your way from the Chicago Stadium.
Third period, and he picks it up for the Blackhawks right here. Grabs onto Hawkinson right there, and the referee, Dennis Morrell, quick to make that call. That comes at 23 seconds.
Face-off is to the right of Bannerman. Bobby Smith, Steve Payne, Dino Cicerelli, the forwards. Greg Hartsburg and Neil Broughton are manning the points for Glenn Sonmore. Game 4 tomorrow night, 7:30 face-off time here in Chicago. We'll have the telecast for you on KMSP TV 9 tomorrow night. Channel 9 tomorrow night at 7:30.
We got some debris on the ice in the North Star end. Problem with that, I don't think people realize how dangerous that is. If someone's going into the boards, yeah, on either team, and steps on that and goes in, boy, oh boy, a lot of damage can be done.
Off the face-off now, Fox for Chicago, behind the goal, down the ice it goes, into the Minnesota zone, stopped back there by Melange, back after it, Broughton. Watched by Patterson. Broughton for Minnesota, trying to come out of his own zone, puck out to center, Feimster now for Chicago, back to Fox. Watched by Cicerelli for Feimster, down the ice into the Minnesota end. Stopped by Melange for Neil Broughton. Left for Bobby Smith. Now it's Bobby Smith for the North Stars, carrying out to center. Payne on the left, Cicerelli on the right, across the Chicago line. Smith taking a hit there from Lysiak. Down he goes, as Fox behind the goal. Off now for Patterson, and down the ice, and Hartsburg and Lysiak in pursuit. 1 minute, 10 seconds left in the penalty time to Preston. Greg Hartsburg for the North Stars, coming out to center ice with it, moving across the Chicago line. He was poke checked, and Broughton covers at center. Now it's Neil Broughton into the Chicago zone, off for Bobby Smith for Dino Cicerelli. A drive, he scores! Dino Cicerelli has the hat trick, and the Stars lead it 7-1 with their 4th power play goal.
Well, they've wasted no time. Dino Cicerelli also, remember, last year picked up a hat trick. I believe it was against Calgary in that series, but that gives him another hat trick. One right here tonight as the North Stars take a very commanding 7-1 lead.
They're also 4 for 5 on the power play tonight.
That will improve the percentages considerably.
And that may carry over to tomorrow. That'll give the Hawks something to think about. As Giles goes back. After going 1 for 15, they're 4 for 5. Out to center ice now, Troy Murray. Watched by Mark Johnson as play goes into the Chicago end. Wilson going back for the Blackhawks. Doug Wilson for Chicago, sending it to an open wing as it's played now at center ice by Roberts, off for Giles at his own line. Back for Gordy Roberts. Roberts backhanding it to the Chicago line. Ruskowski knocks it down for the Hawks. Out now for Grant Mulvey, ridden out by Hawkinson.
Well, Mulvey knocked the linesman, Randy Mitten, right into the North Star bench. when he was taken out.
Art Johnson from center, stopped by Bannerman, whose goals against average is inflating a bit tonight as the puck goes into the crowd. 20,000, Tom, 926. Smith and Broughton get the assist at 1:30. Remember when they used to announce every crowd here at 16,666, but apparently they've lifted the fire restrictions.
That's a lot of people in this building. You look through here, and I don't know if there's any bad seats in this whole building.
Say one thing, there aren't any seats.
You're
gone.
close to the ice surface, too. The nice thing I like about Chicago, the glass is extremely high around the perimeter. You cannot talk to the players or reach the top of the glass to talk to the players.
Fox going back behind the goal, bothered by Broughton. Off now for Secord, bothered there by Kristoff. Barrett out for Broughton at center. Neil Broughton swinging back in his own zone. Broughton for the North Stars to center ice, clearing it into the Chicago zone. Bannerman fails to stop it. Goes up along the boards. Brumwell now. Off for Palmer. Palmer playing it behind the net where Fox controls for Chicago. Fox starting out Savard to Secord on the left wing. Sharpley is the right wing on the line. Play into the North Star end. Brumwell knocks it from the slot area. Out to center it comes, and Fox will play it for Chicago. It has been all Minnesota tonight as Savard comes across the line to Secord. Secord cutting in, stopped by Milan. Back now for Fox. Fox getting it over there for Sharpley. Sharpley playing it back for Fox, stopped by Young, and it's whistled down offside. The nice game comes here. Oh, hold on a second. It's Brumwell and Secord.
Secord is going to go. He may be the only one going. Let's wait and see what happens here. But Secord and Brumwell, Secord had given Brumwell a shot just prior to that.
So the activity continues. Tonight's broadcast comes your way from the Chicago Stadium.
Gets the only penalty in that little confrontation between he and Brumwell. He just gave Brumwell a little push with the glove, but the referee, Dennis Morrell, says, that's it, you're going.
I would assume he'd be keeping a close eye on things here in the third period.
Oh, he's got to. He can't afford to let things get out of hand in a game like this.
Broughton getting it ahead for Payne. Smith, Payne, and Cicerelli the forward. And Broughton and Hartsburg are manning the point. Chicago sending the puck all the way down the ice. Balash stopping it back behind the goal. 1:45 remaining the penalty to Secord. 16 minutes and 30 seconds to play in the game. 7-1 Minnesota. Game 4 tomorrow night, 7:30 here on Channel 9. Broughton to center. Off now for Payne. Payne cutting in against Feimster. And we'll get a face-off in the Chicago zone to the right of Bannerman.
Yeah, Preston Payne just grabbing Preston, just pulling him in there. Now Fox taking a swing at Bobby Smith.
Is that a can on the ice? I think someone threw a can on the ice just to the right of Bannerman, laying out in the face-off circle.
This is the thing that Stan was talking a little bit about. How Fox seems to be pushing his stick, trying to push it into the midsection of Steve Payne. Yes, it is a can. Watch at the right of your screen here. This is when Feimster goes in, and Preston will come in here as well. They're just shoving it a little bit. So I'm trying to get possession of the puck. The whistle goes right there. There was really nothing going on until Feimster jumped in. No penalties on that.
Face off to the right of Bannerman. A minute 26 seconds remains in the roughing call against Secord. Off to face off now. Fox for Chicago. Back behind the goal, doing a dance there is Morale out to center. Hartsburg being hounded by Preston as the puck goes into the Minnesota zone.
We got a fight going now.
Bobby Smith
and Fox. They both got the long reach, but neither one of them can hit right now.
Good tugging match. Smith trying to get a hand free. Now Smith gets a couple in after Fox had landed a few.
Oh, there's a goal!
Another big one.
Oh, he hit two dandies, and Fox is down, and he is hurt. And Glenn is on the bench. He's ecstatic, as the players are. But did Fox take a couple of dandies from Bobby Smith? And now the other players, and this is what we're talking about, that one just literally stunned Fox. And Smith is smiling. He's got a little blood in his mouth, but believe me, that doesn't hurt at this point.
All the pushing and shoving.
Fox got him a couple of dandies. And we don't know that cut on Smith happened in the fight or whether it happened prior to that to cause the fight.
Well, they're going off. You know, what was it a couple of years ago? It was before the Islanders won the Stanley Cup. They were eliminated in a preliminary round by Toronto, where Toronto went to the goon tactics. I don't know whether Chicago's taken a page out of that book or exactly what it is.
They're not getting a lot right here at this point. They both got long reach. There's the first one. The one coming on the inside. And he caught him a good one with another one right there. And that stunned him.
Blackhawk penalty number 2.
Oh, when you take one like that, let me tell you, 5 minutes each for fighting. Well, they tested him, and Bobby did not fail the test. Glenn was going crazy on the bench. He was up, he was swinging. There was nobody around, fortunately.
Another can on the ice down at the other end. I'm afraid we're going to have more of this to put up with again tomorrow.
And that's the 10th penalty for the Blackhawks for 23 minutes. And for Minnesota, that's their 9th for 21 minutes. And that's the first major fighting penalties we've had in this hockey game.
3:54 the time of the penalties. There's Bob Pulford back behind the bench for Chicago.
Some good shots by our camera crew here in Chicago. Someone just threw something, hit Meloche in the back of the mask. It was just a piece of paper. Fortunately, our security in Minnesota is pretty good, pretty tight. Those guys do a remarkable job. When the fans get a little upset, the fans get into this as much as the players do at times.
Face-off is going to the left of Meloche in the Minnesota goal. Still 1:15 left in Secord's penalty.
Oh, did he hit him with that one shot?
Off the face-off now, kept in by Wilson. Wilson takes the shot high in the air. It goes and into the crowd.
And that was way up. Unfortunately, the fan couldn't hang on to it, and down it went into that section there, but that was well above the press box, which is unusual because the press box is situated at the end of the arena, right there as you can see it. Normally it's on the side of most arenas, in all arenas I can think of except for this one.
Face-off coming inside the Minnesota blue line. We've reached now the 4-minute mark of the third period, 7-1 Minnesota. Hutchinson clearing it back in, stopped by Meloche behind the goal. Now it is Hartsburg for the North Stars. Starting out with it with a pass for Maxwell. Maxwell out for Steve Payne at center. Clearing it down the left side for Payne. Carries in. Bannerman knocks it away. Off for Preston. Kept in by Hartsburg. Hartsburg takes the shot. That rips wide on the deflection. Young now in the corner for Minnesota. Hitting it out, but Preston will break it up now for Lysiak. Lysiak for Chicago. Moving across the line. Lysiak watched there by Maxwell. And the puck comes loose now to Dino Ciccarelli. Ciccarelli going down the right side. Knocked down by Hutchinson at the line, but Hutchinson plays it right in his own zone. Payne tees her up, lets her go. That goes wide. Now Ciccarelli will keep it in, and he plays it to Gordy Roberts out at center. 20 seconds to go in the penalty to Secord, as Brad Maxwell now for the North Stars, cross-checked and knocked down by Hutchinson. Picked up now by Roberts. Out to Dino Ciccarelli on the right side for Brad Maxwell, off for Tom McCarthy. Hutchinson breaks that up and sends it down to the Minnesota zone. Secord standing, he'll be coming back on, and Chicago is at full strength. Gordy Roberts now for the North Stars, hit the skate of McCarthy as the puck picked up by Giles. Out to center ice. Secord moving back into the Minnesota zone, taking it away there is Giles, off for McAdams, hit by Feimster and knocked down. Now Secord sends it to the corner. Giles now for the North Stars. Grabbed over along the boards and slowed up. McAdams knocked down as the puck comes out to center, and after it for the North Stars, Tom McCarthy. McCarthy comes in, puts the shot on goal, and Bannerman makes the save. Off now for Patterson.
He was trying to get that pass across to Broughton, who was breaking in on the far side, but hit the defensive skates and went right in on net.
Sutter shoots over the top of the cage. Secord back behind the goal. Tried to drop it back. It was picked off by McCarthy, who couldn't find it, and the shot was blocked. Kept in by Feimster. Sutter now for Chicago. Play getting extremely rough as McCarthy sends it all the way down the ice.
That'll slow things down a little bit. A good play by McCarthy.
Icing called against Minnesota, and the face-off will move back into the North Star end. Order your 82-83 North Star season tickets now, and you can get great savings. By making a $50 per seat deposit, you can select your seat location for next year's game. Make an appointment. Call weekdays 853-9340. That's 853-9340. Your number for North Star season tickets.
Second period, Vancouver #2, Calgary Flames 1. In the third period, the New York Islanders 1 and the Pittsburgh Penguins 1.
Well, too bad DeBartolo stayed away from the Civic Arena. He's missing a good hockey game. Pittsburgh and the Islanders are 1-1. Face-off coming to the left side of Meloche. Now back behind the goal goes Brumwell. Brumwell for Minnesota, watched by Murray. Off now for Mark Johnson. Johnson carries to center. Stopped at the Chicago line. Freddie Barrett plays it back in. Now Wilson goes back for the Hawks. Back behind Bannerman. Bannerman tried to clear it out. Kept in, though, by Brumwell. Murray knocks it out to center, and here come the Hawks. Murray across the North Star line, trying to cut in. Barrett stays with him, and then sends him up against the board. Wilson was tied up. Drive by Hutchinson, armed out by Meloche. Murray back behind Manette, watched by Ken-Eric Anderson. Mulvey knocked Freddie Barrett down. As we've reached the 7-minute mark here of the final period. Freddie Barrett gave Mulvey a shot. Mulvey has dropped his glove. He's ready.
And he's going for a penalty. Freddie just skated away from him. Mulvey had his sticks and gloves off, and he's getting the gate. I think he picks his spots.
And the crowd continues to litter the ice as Ruskowski and Barrett now have words. Mark Johnson out there for the North Stars. And Mulvey will check into the penalty box for Chicago. Time of the penalty will be 7 minutes and 1 second. I think Barrett's going to go as well.
Yeah, I don't know why he's... Well, that's the referee's decision, not mine.
Hey, tonight's broadcast comes your way from the Chicago Stadium. Bob Kurtz and Tom Reed back here at the Chicago Stadium. We've got fights in the crowd. We've had cans on the ice. And the security people moving in here trying to break up a couple of the combatants in the stands. Even the players are watching that.
Somebody's down on the ground, his feet are up in the air. Not a very good position to be in the stands anyway, but the fact remains the North Stars hold a very commanding 7-1 lead here. We've got 12:59 remaining in this second period, and as anticipated, the Blackhawks have come out here trying to intimidate the North Stars. They will not be intimidated.
Now, they weren't intimidated the first two games, Tommy, but let me ask you this. Sometimes I wonder whether they got too much involved in the rough aspect of it and forgot the hockey.
Exactly. The North Stars are a hockey team. They're not a fighting team, but they will fight if they have to.
Shot by Hutchinson, stopped by Meloche, back behind the goal. But it seems when they fight, it takes their mind off the hockey.
Well, sure it does. Anytime anybody fights, it takes your mind off the game.
That's not in their game plan anyway.
No, it's not. But more and more, it has been, for many years, the North Stars were known as a team that could be pushed around. Just hit them and you'll stop them. That style has changed. And I think most teams are evident of that. Some teams will still try to do it, but it doesn't work for them anymore.
Artsberg coming out of his own zone, out to center ice, pass going to Maxwell. Now Kristoff playing it into the Chicago zone before the line change.
Here we go, Hutchinson and Kristoff.
Now Roberts moves right in.
Hutchinson gave him the stick. Oh, come on, Gordy. Well, hooray for Hutchinson. I get upset when I see stuff like that. There's no reason for it. The referee is there. He made the call right away, which was a proper hit. I'm not faulting him. But Hutchinson gave Kristoff the stick right into the midsection. Kristoff's got the bad shoulder. It made help stop him from swinging. But Gordy Roberts has been tremendous these last two games. He's right in on top to help the goaltenders as he helped Donnie Beaupre in Minnesota and right here again.
Well, I'm going to tell you something, Tommy. I'm having trouble stomaching the third period. The hockey game is over for all intents and purposes, and Chicago apparently feels if you can't win the game, you got to start a lot of nonsense.
Hutchinson just grabbing, but nothing is really landing.
You know,
Well,
a
he
fight in
should
the heat
throw
of
him
the
down.
battle.
He's about 230 pounds. He should.
A fight in the heat of a battle is one thing, but to come out here and look for nothing but trouble in the third period to set the stage for tomorrow night, you just don't get it in any other sport.
Just because you put a uniform on that guy doesn't make him a hockey player.
It's getting a little tiring. Get a break? Nice break.
Look at him. Doc Rose is right in the middle of that as well. Now Savard is swinging his stick at Glenn Salmore. McCarthy and Savard. McCarthy was on the bench. Savard came over with a stick. And then Secord came in there. Now they're throwing beer at the coach. Security is terrible here right now. There should be a number of people behind that bench. Why isn't there? The fact remains the North Stars win 7-1, and that's the way it should be. I don't understand this at all.
Oh, I do. John Ziegler will just look the other way. And so the same thing will happen over and over and over again until the league
Now
decides
Savard
to
just
do
pushed the
something about it.
linesman. Savard just pushed the linesman, Randy Mitten, and I want to see if anything is made of that.
You can see it.
You saw a hockey team, the North Stars, at their finest of scoring 7 goals. And this is ridiculous. The ice is littered right now. They have the attendants out. Meloche is sitting in his cage.
And what they're doing, of
They're
course,
throwing
is
things
they're
at
also
Meloche.
inciting 20,926 people are in here.
Savard is leaving the ice.
There's Gilly. He's got the best seat in the house.
I'd like to be in that control truck right now. Which camera do you take? There's the thing they usually play with. Right there, that little black thing.
Well, obviously, that's left the game plan here in the third period.
If Savard pushed the linesman, is he out for the next game?
Should be. If Savard touched an official, Tommy, in any other sport, he would not be playing again the rest of the Stanley Cup playoffs if Chicago went all the way to the finals. There's the confab. We'll be all day here trying to figure out what the penalties are out of this situation. We can tell you that Buffalo leads Boston. Is that a final yet? 4-2 Buffalo? That's been up a long time.
Yeah, I would think so. It's quarter after 11 there.
Calgary and Vancouver 1-1. According to the scoreboard here in Chicago, St. Louis still with a 2-1 lead over Winnipeg. Edmonton and Los Angeles should be underway now out on the West Coast. The final from this afternoon, 4-3, the Rangers over Philadelphia. Cam Connor scored the winning goal, we understand, for the Rangers with about 1 minute and 30 seconds remaining in that one. It's also getting late up in Quebec, where the Nordiques had a 2-0 lead over the Montreal Canadiens. The Islanders in Pittsburgh 1-1 in the third period. Glenn Sonmore over on the bench for Minnesota.
Okay, we've got some penalties coming up the board here. Kristoff is getting a penalty.
As Ruskowski now comes off to talk with Dennis Morrell. There's Bob Pulford. And the Chicago players bench.
Savard picks up a penalty. There's the scoreboard right there. You can see 1 minute and 10 seconds left in the penalties to Barrett of the North Stars, number 3, and to Mulvey of the Chicago Blackhawks, number 22.
They still have 1 minute 10 to serve in theirs. And Kristoff and Secord was in it at one time. I don't know what he got. He was the one that started after, it was Hutchinson, rather, that started after
Right.
Kristoff. That's right.
Number 28,
Here's the penalty.
Kristoff, 2 minutes for slashing. Number 10, Gordy Robbins, 5 minutes for fighting. And Minnesota, a 2-minute bench minor. Blackhawk penalties. Number 5, Dave Hutchison, 2 minutes for slashing, 5 minutes for fighting. Blackhawk penalty number 18, Dennis Savard, 2 minutes for unsportsmanlike conduct. 10 minutes, misconduct penalty and a gross misconduct penalty at
Which means
7:51.
he is gone tomorrow.
That's great.
Minnesota penalties, Kristoff, 2 minutes for slashing. Roberts, 5 minutes for fighting. And Minnesota, a 2-minute bench minor for Chicago.
That really hurts Chicago. He got that gross misconduct for pushing Randy Mitten, and Randy made the call. I give him credit. Right here in Chicago. 20,000 people screaming down your throat.
Does that add up to 22 minutes of penalties for Savard?
Yes, that's 22, right?
16 penalties now for 54 minutes to Chicago.
We're both doing our arithmetic here right now. I'll probably come up wrong. I usually am.
Well, St. Louis leads Winnipeg 5-1, so apparently the Blues are going to go up 2-1. So again, the penalties to Minnesota: Kristoff, 2 minutes for slashing. Roberts gets 5 minutes for fighting, and a 2-minute bench penalty to Minnesota. To Chicago, Hutchinson, 2 minutes for slashing and 5 minutes for fighting. And for Dennis Savard of Chicago, 2 minutes for unsportsmanlike conduct, a 10-minute misconduct, and a gross misconduct.
Bob, I can't emphasize how much that gross misconduct is going to hurt Chicago. I'm going to see what I'll look up the ruling just to make sure I have it right, but I am sure that he will be out of this game and the next game.
He's only got 12 minutes and 9 seconds left in this one, and he's got 22 minutes in penalty, so there's no way he'll play in this one. He has already gone to the locker room. Face-off now will come out in the neutral zone. Teams will be playing 3 skaters plus a goaltender. For the North Stars, that'll be Mark Johnson, Brad Maxwell, and Craig Hartsburg. For the Chicago Blackhawks, Glenn Sharpley, Doug Wilson, and Bob Murray. Off the face-off now, play going into the Chicago zone. Stopped by Bannerman, off for Murray, back behind the goal. Now Murray for the Blackhawks. Working his way across his own line, out to center ice for Sharpley. Getting it into the Minnesota zone, broken up there by Brad Maxwell, who will go back behind Gilles Malott. Now Maxwell for the North Stars. Off for Mark Johnson. Johnson carrying to center, working his way across the Chicago line. Bumped there by Murray, up against the boards in the corner, and Sharpley will come out of the Chicago zone. It is Sharpley carrying out to center ice, crisscrossing with Wilson, moving across the North Star line, and Randy Mitten says it's offside.
Here's the ruling on the gross misconduct.
More fights in the stands here in Chicago.
This is stupid, absolutely stupid. People are falling over the chairs, are falling over each other. There's beer being thrown. At least I'm glad the fans behind us are keeping their heads.
Go on with the ruling. You have it or not?
I got here. It says in regular league games, any player includes their total. And I had it here a second ago, and I lost it when I looked up there.
The playoff games, any player
Of 2-game misconduct shall be suspended automatically for the next playoff game. Well, he's got a 10 plus a gross. Well, the men in orange, those are the security here, and they're policemen. Now we got. I don't think they're. Everybody else just clears away. You can see what's happening here.
Well, they looked to the ice for the example.
Take his shoe off. Now he's going to hit somebody with a shoe. Watch this. I've seen that before. Oh, there. Have another one. You want to fight? You want to get smart with everybody? That's what you'll get. Meet me out there. Sure.
We've got 11 minutes and 29 seconds on the clock remaining in this one here in the third period. Stars lead at 7-1. Bobby Smith from Cicerelli and McCarthy going back to the first period at 2:25. Then Cicerelli from Smith and Roberts at 10:22.
Look at this. This guy's, he's putting the handcuffs on this one. You think he's in a tough position right now? Those are policemen. You can see they stick together, guys. You're not too smart when you start messing with them. And, of course, we can't see too much happening here, but let's wait and see what happens. I wonder what happens to him when he gets out in the corridor there. I'll bet you, well, now they've got one of the cops. Here they go again. Oh, one guy really went down. did he go down. It's right below the press box. And let me tell you, those guys on the Minnesota broadcast, or the Writers' Nest, have a great view of this. That whole end, the people are falling over the suites. By the way, in case you've forgotten, the North Star still leads 7-1. But the nonsense that happens on the ice so often, Bob,
Buries
refers
into the stands. And you don't think this is not going to make the papers around the country tomorrow, and the league is going to wind up with another well-deserved black eye. Now I think, when this comes to the league attention, they may do something.
Okay, but do you think that Morrell has called a bad game?
I thought he was a little loose at first. Not in the third period. There's nothing he could do about it.
No, I think he's. I don't fault him at all. I mean, this is playoff hockey, and you got to expect a little more intensity. You've got to call the key situations.
But Tommy, Chicago didn't come out in the third period to play hockey. They
realize
came out
that.
with one thing in mind.
But he's called the penalties right away, Bob. He's called them.
Let's get this thing back underway, get things settled down, hopefully in the stands, and get everybody out of here in one piece.
Okay, play is going to resume. The North Stars lead 7-1, 11:29 remaining.
Now Wilson for Chicago. Now what do we have? Some stuff on the ice or what? Door was open at one end. I think that's the reason for the whistle, is the one door was open at the one side. Now Ruskowski comes over for Chicago to get some things off the ice. I tell you, this thing with 11 minutes and 26 seconds to go and a score like this, it wouldn't be bad to call this thing either.
Yeah, but then there'll be a protest. You can't call it at this point.
Murray now for Chicago, clearing it back behind the goal. Giles for Minnesota, back behind Malach. Getting it off now for Murray Brumwell. Brumwell carrying to center ice, moving across the Chicago line. Down the left side for Anderson. Anderson goes back behind the goal, swinging it back out for Giles. Giles takes the shot, gloved by Bannerman, and he holds on, and the faceoff will come in the Chicago zone. 10 minutes and 54 seconds remain in the game, but there has been of it. 7-1 in favor of Minnesota. Again, Bobby Smith has 1 goal. Steve Payne 2, Dino Cicerelli 3, and Mark Johnson 1 for the North Stars. Sharpley has the lone tally for Chicago.
Well, we've had a lot of everything. Not a little, but a lot. We've had a lot of power play goals, a lot of goals on the part of the North Stars, a lot of penalties on both sides. We've had a lot of fights in the stands. One guy's got his raincoat up over top of his head. They're throwing liquid refreshments at him.
Crossman now for Chicago, coming out to center ice, moving across the Minnesota line. Poke check. Lysiak has a penalty coming up against Minnesota. Hartsburg knocks the puck. Bannerman plays it at the Chicago line. Not a bad pass to Lysiak, touched by Hawkinson, and a penalty now being assessed against the North Stars.
And that's going to Hawkinson for hooking.
9:24, the time of the penalty against the Hawks.
You just hear the roar of this crowd in behind.
Number 16, Anders Hawkinson, 2 minutes for hooking at 9:24. Minnesota penalty.
Hawkinson for hooking at 9:34.
9:24. A final score in overtime. The Pittsburgh Penguins 2, New York Islanders 1.
Well, Pittsburgh beat the Islanders in overtime 2-1. So there'll be a 4th game in Pittsburgh. I wonder if DeBartolo will go to that one. Stayed home, missed a heck of a game. Here comes Feimster now, down the left side for Chicago. Dropping it back for Lysiak, a shot. That was kicked away by Gilles Malach, as the pass now goes to Brad Maxwell. Now it's Hartsburg. Hartsburg at the Chicago line. Stars can't be shorthanded for a while yet. There are too many men in the penalty box, and they have to wait for some of the penalties to expire. Hartsburg for Minnesota, out to center ice, clearing it into the Chicago zone.
Shorthanded down.
Feimster now will start out for Chicago. 9 minutes and 55 seconds to play. Lysiak goes to center. Tied up by Ken-Eric Anderson is Freddie Barrett. Sends it all the way down the ice, stopped by Murray Bannerman, and left behind the goal now for Doug Crossman. Crossman for Chicago. carrying out to center ice, moving across the North Star line. Watched there by Freddie Barrett, dropping it back for Lysiak. Lysiak getting it over for Wilson. Wilson off for Lysiak, and the pass failed to click. Now Freddie Barrett and Lysiak bump up along the board as Anderson plays it down inside the Chicago line. Crossman goes back for the Blackhawks. Crossman carrying to center, moving across the Minnesota line. Crossman takes the shot, Meloche makes the save, and Murray Brumwell sweeps the rebound down the ice. 52 seconds remaining in Hawkinson's penalty. 9 minutes to go in the game as Ruskowski moves across the Chicago line. Ruskowski having problems with Dino Ciccarelli. Puck kept in by Murray, saved by Meloche. Ruskowski after the rebound, and Sutter had a half a net to shoot at, but couldn't pull the trigger. He tries it again. Then they're getting it over to Troy Murray. He hit the outside of the net. Bob Murray off now for Ruskowski. Back for Troy Murray. He hits the net again. And back behind the goal for the North Stars goes Hartsburg over the head of Wilson and all the way down the ice with 20 seconds left in Hawkinson's penalty. 8 minutes and 25 seconds to play. Off for Ruskowski. Ruskowski for Troy Murray. Troy Murray for Chicago was knocked down. Gets back up, tries to play it again. Off for Ruskowski, and McAdam knocks it out to center ice. Back is Hawkinson, and the North Stars are back in full strength. Now for Chicago, it's Murray. Murray getting it for Grant Mulvey. Mulvey a shot and a save by Meloche as Maxwell goes back behind the goal. Off now for Wilson. Back too far for Ruskowski. Palmer now for Minnesota. Palmer pops it in the air, knocked down with a high stick by Feimster. And with 7:47, we'll tell you tonight's broadcast comes your way from Chicago.
7:47 remain. The North Stars up on top by a score of 7-1. Woody Roberts still in the penalty box, serving that major fighting penalty against altercation with Dave Hutchison, who is also in the box. Now Neil Broughton for Minnesota, clearing it into the Chicago zone. Secord hands it right back for Broughton again. Broughton was spun around by Fox, and here comes Glenn Sharpley. Sharpley breaking down the left side against Freddie Barrett, dropping it over for Feimster. Feimster cut off there by Brumwell. Back for Fox. Fox takes the shot. Meloche, who has been magnificent all night, makes another save. Preston now for Chicago. Meloche knocks that away. Sharply in the corner, drilled by Freddie Barrett as Neil Broughton comes up with the puck for the North Stars. Off now for Kristoff, carrying to center. Into the Chicago zone it goes. Bannerman for the Hawks to Secord behind the net. Vancouver has defeated Calgary 3-1. Goodbye, Flames. That series is over. And the Vancouver Canucks will advance to the winner of the Smythe Division Championship against either the Los Angeles Kings or the Edmonton Oilers. Out to center goes Brumwell. Back across the line, sent in. St. Louis has defeated Winnipeg. Not sure what the final is. We have to get everything off the PA here in Chicago. That series is 2-1 St. Louis, and Game 4 in that series coming up in St. Louis tomorrow. The Rangers over Philly 4-3. Rangers lead that series 2-1 with Game 4 tomorrow in Philly. Buffalo has defeated Boston 4-2. Shot by Crossman, blocked by Bobby Smith. That's 2-1 Boston. Game 4 in that series will be tomorrow night. As Daryl Sutter now for Chicago, getting it out in front, and Maxwell breaks it up off now for Tom McCarthy. McCarthy dumping it into the Chicago zone, stopped by Bannerman back behind the goal. Crossman now getting it off for Bob Murray, back for Crossman, and back out to center. Crossman carrying across the line. Clearing it back behind the goal for Sutter. Into the corner it goes. Now Feimster for Chicago. Hands it to Payne. Payne for the North Stars. Pops it in the air. Back out to center ice and into the Chicago zone. And the clock is down to 5:45 left. And things seem to have tamed down on the ice and in the stand. Well, yeah, that little thing in the stand also kills both of these teams, too, because it slows things down.
Here's Timmy Young moving in, back across. McAdam couldn't pull the trigger. Brumwell sets up. He takes the shot. He missed on the far side of the net. And now coming down for Chicago is Daryl Sutter, and back into the Minnesota zone. Murray Brumwell for the North Stars, getting it over now for Freddie Barrett. Barrett with 5:15 to play, out to center, stopped there by Murray. Now Bob Murray for Chicago, carrying into the North Star end. Murray back for Ruskowski, saved by Meloche. Rebound is sent wide by Ruskowski. Barrett clearing it along the board. and down into the Chicago zone as we've passed the 15-minute mark here in the third period.
I've been watching the referee, Dennis Morrell. He's watching. Every time the puck is shot, he watches where the puck is, first off, then always looks back in behind the plate to see what's happening there.
Tonight's broadcast comes your way from Chicago.
A little more debris on the ice that the linesman Randy Minton is picking up, waiting to end this third and final period. 4:46 remaining, 7-1 for Minnesota. There's got to be more garbage on the ice tonight, Bob, than there has been in the stands.
At least the cleanup crews won't have much of a job. Off the face-off now. Controlled by Chicago as Murray goes back behind the goal. Having some difficulty back there, and Mulvey comes back to lend him a hand. Fighting for the North Stars is Mark Johnson, tied up by Murray, and now coming out for Chicago is Doug Crossman. Crossman getting it out for center. Mulvey now for Chicago clears it in. Troy Murray goes to the corner, bumped by Roberts, swept along the board. Kept in by Crossman, off now for Ruskowski, and back out, and Hawkinson breaks it up for Anderson, back for Hawkinson. Hutchinson now for Chicago. Hitting it across for Crossman. Crossman carries to center, across the Chicago line, dumping it into the Minnesota zone. Along the boards it comes, and Preston now taking the hit over there from Gordy Roberts, and the face-off will go to Belefta Milosh. We want to remind you, but you can order your 82-83 North Star season tickets now, and you can get some great savings by making a $50 per seat deposit. You can select your seat location for next year's games at the Met Center. Make an appointment. Call weekdays 853-9340. The number again 853-9340 to order your North Star season tickets. 3 minutes and 59 seconds to play here in Chicago. Edmonton leads Los Angeles 2-0. As making the save there is Gilles Meloche. Now back behind the goal for the North Stars was Broughton. Out now to Kristoff at center. Kristoff sends it across for Broughton. Broughton takes a shot. It goes wide. Keeping it in, Freddie Barrett for Minnesota. Back behind the goal. Stopped by Bannerman. Up along the boards for Preston. Back for Bannerman behind the net. Now Hutchinson for Wilson. Back for Sharpley. Sharpley at center, clears it in, stopped by Gilles Meloche. Freddie Barrett goes back after it. Off now for Kristoff. Kristoff heading it up for Broughton. Broughton out to center, stopped by Sharpley. Now Secord for Chicago, brings it into the Minnesota zone. Preston chasing it down with Brumwell. Out in front, broken up by Freddie Barrett, with now 3 minutes to play in the hockey game. So we've hit the 17-minute mark of the final period. The North Stars, as they have been all night, in complete control on the scoreboard, 7-1.
Shows that we finally hit the 17-minute mark.
It's been a long night. Sharpley getting it out in front. Cicerelli breaks that up. Palmer now going down the left side for Minnesota. Feimster comes back. Takes it away. Wilson getting it ahead for Sharpley, back into the Minnesota zone. Back after it now goes Giles. And icing is called against Chicago with 2:31 to go. 7-1 Minnesota. Game 4, Tommy, tomorrow night, 7:30 face-off time here on Channel 9. What do you look for in Game 4?
Well, I think the North Stars certainly have got their confidence right now. They know they can score goals. Chicago, on the other hand, has to realize they've got to come out early in that first period and be effective. They've got to do something and yet not get super penalties.
And play without Savard, we're assuming.
We're assuming a gross misconduct. I believe he has gone.
Now Greg Fox for Chicago. Coming out of his own zone, carrying out to center ice, clearing it into the Minnesota zone. Stopped by Meloche, off now for Giles. As crashing into the boards and hurt back behind the play.
Mulvey, I believe it is.
I think it might be Sutter.
He went in heavily into the boards on the end there, and they don't give too much here. Especially in Chicago, you notice when the players take shots, and this is something Chicago works on, they play the puck off the back boards because there is so much of a rebound. The puck comes way out. They're cemented in there extremely firm. And as a result, you do get a good play off of the end boards.
Chicago player is still down. The training staff administering to him. Tommy Lysiak, number 12 there, standing up for Chicago. You can see Kurt Giles in the bottom of your picture.
Well, it says on the gross misconduct, it says that the referee may impose a gross misconduct penalty on any player, manager, coach, etc., who is guilty of gross misconduct of any kind. Any person incurring a gross misconduct penalty shall be suspended for the balance of the game and shall incur an automatic fine of $100. And the case shall be referred to the president of the league for further disciplinary action. And because it involves an official, which I think it does, I think that's the reason for the gross. I look to John Ziegler, Brian O'Neill and company to hand down suspensions on them. And they will.
Overnight?
I believe they will. Yes.
It was Darryl Sutter. And luckily for him, I'm sure he's wearing a helmet. This didn't help. I think his head hit the boards as well. I don't think the head is the main problem there. Looks like he might have gone in and his butt into the stick might have hit the boards and jammed back in the midsection.
That's possible, yeah.
We have 2 minutes and 15 seconds left to play.
He is one of the 4 Sutter brothers who play in the National Hockey League.
With more coming.
A couple with the Islanders, one with St. Louis, and a couple more coming next year in the draft.
$7:30 tomorrow night, game number 4. So I think, if I'm not mistaken, every series continues tomorrow night with the exception of Vancouver-Calgary. That is gone. Calgary has been dispatched. They made the semifinals of the Stanley Cup playoffs a year ago. They're out in 3 in 1982-83. Buffalo had its back to the wall. They won. The North Stars had their backs to the wall. They won. Pittsburgh was down 2-0, and they won. They beat the Islanders in overtime 2-1.
It seems to me that I heard a rumor that Al McNeil, the coach of Calgary, was going some other place, but I don't know where.
Back into the North Star end goes Gordy Roberts. Secord bumping him back behind the goal. Now Dino Ciccarelli hit by Lysiak. Lysiak got the stick up a bit as Smith now brings it out to center, off for Giles. Into the Chicago zone, stopped by Bannerman back behind the goal, and we're down to 1 minute and 30 seconds to play. Out to center ice, Giles for Minnesota. Backhanding it into the Chicago zone. Stopped by Bannerman. Off now for Fox with 1:20 to go. Now Fox for Secord. Secord for Chicago. Clearing it up along the boards for Murray. Across now for Feimster. Feimster getting it out to Troy Murray at center. Ted Bully never returned for Chicago. What his status is, we're not sure. We never got a report.
No.
As Payne now carries to center. Sutter injured in the game for Chicago. And we'll have to check on the status of Dennis Savard after the game. Or perhaps tomorrow. Well, the Hawks could well be hurting coming into the game tomorrow. The Stars are minus Bill Nyroff. Back in the Twin Cities. His knee acting up again. As Secord sending it out to center ice. Breaking in now with Mulvey. Oh, was he taken down by Freddie Barrett. And Mulvey's upset as he skates out to center ice. Goes after Barrett. Barrett gave him a stick in the back of the head. Now Mulvey took a shot at Barrett and missed. They just keep circling there at center with 20 seconds to go. Secord cutting in. And now Secord's hit by Barrett. Secord gives Barrett a glove. Meloche makes the save in all this melee.
Watch out.
Luckily, we only have 13 seconds left. I'm not sure how long it's going to take us to play the 13 seconds.
Well, they seem to have cooled down a little bit, so hopefully we can get it through without any... Oh.
I begin to wonder whether there'll be the traditional handshake when this series concludes. Tommy,
watch the save right here.
Take a look at the save. But Tommy, as a player, how do you feel, or how did you feel when you were involved in a game or a contest or a series like this?
I don't mind the rough stuff as long as it's good and clean. That's part of the game. You expect to be hit. You expect to hit others. I don't like the nonsense that goes on. I would rather be hockey played, and I'm sure that the players are telling the referee, Morrell, call it. Let's call it and get this thing done with. But I did not like it at all. That wasn't my style to play that way.
Face-off coming to the left of Malash.
Here we are 3 hours and 10, 11 minutes into this hockey game.
Face-off coming to the left of Gilly. We got 13 seconds to play. Back for Mulvey, a shot. Another save by Malash. Puck goes into the crowd, so we'll have to do it again with 10 seconds to go. Wonder who the referee is assigned to tomorrow's contest. Off the face-off now, controlled by Chicago. Hutchinson stopped there by Payne with 5 seconds to go as play comes down on the Chicago end.
Well, our choice for the North Star Skelly Star of the Game Award. Congratulations, and Skelly gives certificates to goaltender Gilles Malash.
That's a great performance, the choice for BB.